not gambling. It's not gambling when you know you're going to win.
I don't bet. What do you mean you don't bet? I mean, I don't bet.
You're listening to Bustin' Chops and Callin' Shots.
All right, welcome to the show, everybody. Here for the draft special with BCCS Sports, Bustin' Chops, Callin' Shots. We'll start out how we always do, boys. How's your week been? How's your weekend? How's it going?
Oh, yeah. Draft special, baby. Let's get it done.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm just around here doing dad stuff, so nothing exciting around here.
That's exciting, though.
No. John's always got the more exciting thing. He's got sports going on. His kids are old enough where he's coaching stuff. No.
Yeah.
So
I'm
excited about tonight.
Dub in softball this weekend. Got our first W, 14-8.
How many games have you played?
Whoa, hey, look, we're 7 and 8 year olds playing 10-year-olds. Back off.
No, just a question. I just wanted to know the ratio I was working with here.
Look, there's some look.
Touchy subject, apparently.
It is.
My
I
goodness.
defend my girls. I'm a girl dad. Don't mess with my girls. They're all my kids.
No, I was talking about the coach, not the kids.
It could be the coach. It could
Yeah.
be. You know what I mean? Chicken salad and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? Whatever that saying is, chickens and coop and the salad and you know what I'm saying?
Here we go again. All right.
Yeah, the thing.
Well, we're starting this off strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that one, I don't even know. I'll have to research that one.
I don't even know. Yeah. I'm out
Anyway,
on that
well,
one.
we got our first W, so that was big.
Congratulations,
and then
coach.
We had, thank you very much. Girls play really well. So we got them all travel bags
There you go.
for their win, so that they were ecstatic last night at practice. Travel bags and pizza. They were all jacked up. And, man, we really had a good run going betting wise, right? We had gotten up like 5-6 games over the past week.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's all just quickly came shattering down. So I know
it was really 2 days. It was pretty quick. I don't know.
Well, look, anytime you go 0-5, it doesn't take much like yesterday.
Yeah.
But look, man,
It was a rough day.
Tampa Bay blowing that 4-1 lead in the third. I've had 5 games in a row now that we've blown the lead in the third period and then lost it in overtime. And then
You're
the
seeing that a
Rangers-
lot. Like I feel like we're seeing that more in the late in the third period in the NHL than I can remember games just kind of fading away late. Like typically if a team's up third period, second half of the third period, they're winning that game. But I've seen a lot this year, and especially in the playoffs, like those leads are quickly diminishing.
Well, I wrote in the newsletter, and it's kind of flip-flop backwards, right? So going into tonight, the road teams are 19-11, but the favorites are 18-12. So it makes no sense because typically the favorite is the home team in hockey. Typically.
Yeah.
Now, like I know the Bruins and the Avalanche will always be favored. But look, I gave out that 4-unit play with the Avalanche, and we're up 2-1 in the series. And last night they're up 3-1. No, 2-0. And I'm thinking, all right, they're the Avs. They're just going to roll through this thing. And the crackheads end up coming back and beating them. Now the series is tied 2-2. And I'm like, I mean, if I lose that one, I mean, you know, there's a tree marked with my name on it somewhere. So
yeah, there's still time with the Avalanche, though. I'm not.
But it's still only the first round. So it's just been, you know, it sucks when you're 27-10 in NHL playoffs and 13-4 in the NBA, and then you get off to a really bad start in the first round. But, you know, we'll turn around tonight, you know, Rangers, Martin Perez, you know, he's one of my boys. I love Perez. You know, we're up 6-1 going into the 8th, and the Reds score 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th. They won't score 6 runs the rest of the year. But look, if John bets against them, you know, if I bet them on them to beat the Pirates, they can't hit a gnat. You know, I bet against them, and all of a sudden they turn into the 27 Yankees in the 8th inning. So, but hey, just need if we can just get through tonight, 3-2, I just need a winning night. A winning night, and then now let's just start picking it back up. And then, of course, if I haven't been tortured enough in these NBA playoffs, I'm a diehard Celtics fan. I have no money on the game, but I thought, okay, we're going to wrap this up so we get to Philly without Embiid. And the Celtics are down 1 with 30 seconds left. How in the world Atlanta is anywhere near them without Murray in the lineup because he's suspended is beyond me. But again, the playoffs have been crazy. This whole run, March Madness, NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, it's been hard to cap. for sure.
We
Sorry,
talked about.
I got long-winded, but
Man, that never happens. We talked about
you
the
only give me
NHL
once a week to talk these days. I mean, now I got to write newsletters to get my thoughts out in the morning.
No, I feel bad for the people.
Hey, congratulations, by the way, on your first newsletter. It looks great.
Hey, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Need to look at that.
It's a little bit, it's one of those things that you might want to save it for, that private time on the throne, while you're getting your business done in the morning or something. A lot of good information in there, though. No question.
All right. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
We talked about we talked about the NHL playoffs. We thought they were going to be kind of wild and crazy, right? We talked about that on a couple different episodes, just because especially the West was kind of wide open there. We thought the East was going to be a little more easy to predict, but that's kind of been a little wild as well. So with the NHL playoffs in particular, we saw that coming. And then obviously the NBA, I think for me, the biggest, and we'll jump into a little NBA playoff talk, has been Milwaukee. Like down 3-1. I never saw that coming. Not against the Heat.
Well, they haven't had Giannis, in all fairness, for 2.5 games. So, look, I know it looks grim for I can't believe they just called this a foul. The NBA officiating, here's the other thing, and all you guys got to agree, this has been the worst officiated playoffs in my lifetime.
Ooh.
In my life, like it ain't even close. 15 seconds, Boston down 1. Get the ball to Tatum and everybody get the hell out of the way. Anyway, so what were we talking about?
This is the worst.
The NBA playoffs.
This is the worst
officiated ever.
Gotcha. I feel like we were going to get something really good there, and then you got distracted again. Squirrel? And so,
that happens to him all the time.
When you get on
because they call a tic-tac foul on Marcus Smart, and then Smart sets a screen and gets bulldozed, and they call no foul. They stop play and blow the whistle, but call no foul. I just don't understand what they're between that and then, the Dylan Brooks thing and the Draymond thing, and then just letting people hold. It's just been horribly officiated. The whole playoffs. It's just been horrible.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people say that, so you're not the only one that's feeling that right now. I've seen that all over the place.
But Giannis, going back to that, I know it looks grim, but Milwaukee, even though they're down 3-1, I still think if Milwaukee wins game 5, which they will, they're going to go back home and they're going to win that game by 15, 16 points tomorrow night. Okay. That puts them down 3-2. Then the pressure is solely on Miami here. If Miami does not wrap this up in game 6, Milwaukee will come back from 3-1. Milwaukee's the better team.
Oh, absolutely.
You've had Giannis on the bench for 2.5 games. So let's just be I love Jimmy Butler. What he did last night, 56 points, and they needed every single one, was absolutely amazing. I love that. I think Spoelstra's a top 3 coach in the league. I think actually Budenholzer for the Bucks is a bozo. That guy stinks. I mean, he let them go on a 13-0 run and didn't even call a timeout. Yeah. And I'm like, what is this clown doing?
Yeah, you got to call a timeout.
Because the game was over. Milwaukee was up 7 or 8 with 5 minutes. I know you can come back pretty quick, but I mean, Milwaukee is a seasoned team. You have to try to blow that game. And he's just another bucket. And I'm like, this clown doesn't know how to call a timeout. It's simple. You just do this, dummy. And
somebody needs to show him that, apparently.
I think he's a product of a great NBA player in Giannis and a lot of good pieces. If you put a Spoelstra, or at this point, even what Darvin Hams did with the Lakers, or a really good coach, I just don't think Budenholzer's a good coach. I think he's a bozo, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, don't hold anything back. Tell us how you really feel about it.
Bozo Hoden?
Yeah. So Boston's going to go to the free throw line down 1 with 6.5 seconds. Derek White. Why he had the ball and not Tatum, I'll never know.
All right, we're going to run through this bracket here real quick. So obviously Milwaukee and Miami. Miami's up 3-1. Cleveland.
Real quick. Let me say this about just going back to the Milwaukee thing, right? If you can't lay 9 points it was 7.5. Give me just a second here. I want to make sure I have it up.
Playoffs.
So, sorry, Milwaukee is up to 11.5, right? 11.5 for Milwaukee. You can't lay 11.5, but if you take them for the series, it's plus $1.20. So they're going to win
Good
game
value.
5. They're going to win game 5, so don't worry about that. You're basically plus 120, and they're probably going to be laying 4.5 to 5.5 at Miami. They'll still be the favorite, especially if they win by 15 tomorrow night. You could middle it with Miami taking the dog. If Miami wins, okay, you split out, no harm, no foul. But if the Bucks win and they win a close one, you got a chance to hit them both. So I think the Bucks plus 120 to win the series. Again, I know they're down 3-1, but they're the better team. Giannis has been out for 2.5 of these games. Sorry, I'll get off my throne with that now.
Will he be back tomorrow night?
Yeah. Giannis is back. He's going to drop 35.
He better. All right. Jump to the next one here. Cleveland.
Well, hang on. Before we
go
go
ahead.
there, I want to say, you really think that if they go back to Miami tied, that...
Well, no, Miami would be up 3-2. I'm saying Miami better. All the pressure's on Miami to close it out in game 6.
Okay, so if they don't in game 6, then they go back to Miami, right? They
go back to Milwaukee.
Oh, so it's 1-1. That's right. So it's okay. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. Yep. I think I agree with that because what I saw last night was just really impressive. That crowd is just 100% behind, and Jimmy Butler can only do so much, but
he's not dropping 56 again, folks.
That was incredible. That was really a truly an
top 5 playoff performance all time.
Yes, agreed.
Because they needed all 56. There was no empty stats with them.
No. Yeah, yes. Sorry, Josh.
No, you're good, man. All right, so the next one here, Cleveland and the Knicks. Knicks up 3-1. They've looked good. Philadelphia and Brooklyn. That's over. Philadelphia swept them. Boston and Atlanta. That game's going on right now, but Boston up 3-1. Denver up 3-1 on Minnesota. Phoenix up 3-1 on the Clippers.
That series is over. That series will be over tonight.
Yep. Sacramento and Golden State tied at 2, and then Memphis and LA. LA's up 3-1. So LA looking good.
Is over. Yeah, that series. Look, LeBron 20-20 last night was pretty impressive. The only thing about the Lakers, and I keep saying this, Anthony Davis, you never know when he's showing up, or last night he falls to the floor. Every time that dude hits the floor, he acts like he breaks something. For
God's sake. They should just see if they can wrap him in bubble wrap.
I mean, that guy, unreal.
It's
seriously.
It's like when your grandma falls over and you're just like, oh God, please don't break your hip.
Listen, when I don't want to see him and Zion in their 60s. They won't be able to freaking pick up a loaf of bread.
Maybe not.
But I think the Suns close it out. I know Minnesota's up 8, but Denver should close that out at home. So you're going to have Denver and Phoenix. You're going to have LA. And look, this Kings-Warriors series, I know it's tied 2-2, but I still think the Kings are the better team. But now De'Aaron Fox with the broken finger, and that line's done flipped. They've made Golden State a favorite at Sacramento, which just based off philosophy, I get it. Everybody's going to go there because they're like, oh, De'Aaron Fox, don't know if he can play. He's going to give it a go, but they don't know how well he's going to be able to play. Blah, 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 blah. So that went from Sacramento -1.5 before the injury came out that he had it, to now that line is setting at Golden State laying 2.5. I just got to think you still got to take the Kings there. Unreal. Atlanta just hit a 3 at the buzzer. Trae Young, who ain't hit a shot since Oklahoma, hits one from half court with 1.8. Atlanta up 2. Unreal.
Okay. That's how I roll sometimes.
No luck. Where's Larry Bird when I need him?
All right, let's shift our attention to why we're here tonight. NFL draft. It is draft week. Draft in Kansas City this week starts Thursday. How we feel about this one? Who do we think goes number 1? Obviously, we're going to break this thing down, talk about this for the rest of the show. But do we think Bryce Young's still the guy at number 1?
Look, if he doesn't go,
or is Will Levis going to get it done?
Listen, this whole Will Levis thing. I don't know who Reddit, Rebel, whoever put this out. is smoking hard crack cocaine.
We've seen
There
crazy
is
stuff happen in
no
the draft,
way-
though, man.
There is no way. Well, we got our man Gully. He's our NFL draft insider. He's going to go through his mock. I'll go through mine. He's going to have some great stuff, so I don't want to spoil that. I'll let you introduce him in a minute. But we were talking before you got on here, Chop. We both think there's a lot of trades. But I'll tell you one thing right now. If Will Levis, there's just no way. There's just no, like, I get all the steam and all that, right? He went from like plus 4,000 to plus 400, whatever.
Yep.
There's just no way. There's no, like,
We see teams do this, though. They do weird things on draft night, man.
No.
Just
There
saying.
is one clear-cut number one pick in this draft.
Yep.
And
I
it
agree.
is Bryce Young.
Agree.
And the gap is a big of gap as from Peyton Manning to freaking Jay Schrader or Tim Couch. That's
a
how
gap now.
big the gap is.
Yep.
There is no way in God's green earth that anybody other than Bryce Young should be the number one pick. And if you think so, well, I should ask Gully first because he looks like he could whoop my ass. But outside of him, if anybody else picks somebody other than Bryce Young, you're an idiot. You don't know a daggone thing about sports. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Bryce Young should be the number one pick. I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. But we have seen crazy things happen on draft night. If Will Levis got picked first, I mean, it'd be a shocker.
Would not
but
be surprised.
the things we've seen over the years, I'm going to say I would not be surprised. Really.
Listen, this is all I want to say to anybody that thinks this is possible. Do y'all know how he got to Kentucky?
No.
Your Honor,
I'm not saying Bryce
I
Young shouldn't
object.
go number
I
one. I'm
object.
just saying.
Do you know how he became the quarterback at Kentucky? That's all I'm asking.
this is what you call non-relevant facts of the case.
No,
I
it
feel like
is
you're about-
relevant because I'm a Penn State football fan and he couldn't beat out Sean freaking Clifford. If you can't beat out Sean Clifford, that's how you end up playing football at a school that don't know jack about football.
Hey, Kentucky, their program's
Yeah,
gotten
they
better
suck.
over the years.
Yeah, they've gotten better because of Stoops, but they've topped out. They'll never be any better than what he's gotten them. People don't go to Kentucky to play football.
It's true.
I'm sorry. They just don't. They go there to play two sports, basketball and softball, and their volleyball team's pretty good.
Yep.
Look, Will Levis couldn't beat out Sean Clifford at Penn State. We're not talking about like Joe Burrow and Justin Fields, right? And somebody just had to lose based off style. No, we're talking about two crappy quarterbacks, Sean Clifford and Will Levis, and you couldn't beat out the other crap show so that you could be the main crap show. And now you want to convince me that guy should go number one? Hell no.
I'm not trying to convince you of that. I'm just
talking
saying.
about anybody. Anybody that
Just saying.
speaks that into an existence is an absolute moron. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Look, I'm looking at my mock draft. You know what? I got him all the way down at 16. Why? Because that's the kind of thing God would do to me, is make me have to deal with Will Levis on the Redskins.
Well, I mean, do you want Levis
Wow.
or Sam Howell?
I want Sonny Jurgensen at 93 playing quarterback. That's what I want if that's my choices.
You're saying you wouldn't take Levis over Howell?
No.
Come on, man.
Listen, I can't
I'd
remember.
much rather have Levis.
I can't remember who it was, but listen, if somebody takes Will Levis, they're only taking him. I wish I knew who made this comment, but I heard it and I was like, that's so true. If you take Will Levis, you're only taking him to guarantee you're going to have the number one pick in next year's draft to draft Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Because Will Levis is going to be that bad.
Yeah,
He's put nothing on, so you can throw the ball out of the stadium. I've mentioned this before. I remember being a kid, and at the combine, they were showing Heath Schuler from his knees
Yeah.
throwing it 90 yards.
Yeah.
What does that matter?
right.
Jeff
gotcha.
George may have had the biggest cannon the NFL's ever seen. Jeff George sucked.
Well, they're talking about that with Richardson too. Like he has this great arm, he can sling it. So
Yeah,
I mean,
whatever.
It's another
You're
one I'm
getting me
not
riled
real
up.
high on.
Would you
All
like
right.
to introduce our guest, Chomp?
All right. So our NFL draft specialist, Alec, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How
Welcome
you guys
to the
doing?
show. Awesome to have
Thanks
you.
for having me. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. How are things up there in Minnesota?
Man, the weather's crazy like usual. Last week we had about 70s, and then we got dumped 3 inches
there
of
you go.
snow later in that weekend. So it's been great.
See, I can't do that.
Sounds like how things are in Missouri too. So yeah, it's about how it goes here in the Midwest.
Listen, we committed to come up there and watch the Chiefs-Vikings game with you, but I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now, the only way that's happening if it's pre-Halloween. I am not going to Minnesota after October 30th.
Yeah, John doesn't. Nobody has told him
warm
yet, or
weather
at least
guy.
it hasn't sunk in that there's a thing called heat and a winter coat.
Nope, not up there.
He is allergic to both of those things. So
And we play indoors.
yeah,
Yeah, but I got to walk outdoors to get indoors.
yeah, we know who the diva on this
It's
show
just
is.
across
now.
the street,
My God,
right?
man. Yeah, come on, man. Don't be a wuss. I'd honestly rather.
We'll get you an Uber right to the front door.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll
That's
get you a
possibility,
nice
man.
like down winter coat, nice
Can you
and
give me
cozy,
like one of them
warm.
Joe Namath mink?
Yeah,
fur
there
ones?
you go. Yeah, whatever you need.
There you
Whatever
go.
you need.
Thanks, Choppy.
Such a wuss. No, it's awesome. I can't wait to come back up there for a game. We went up and just beautiful stadium, great city. We had some good food, went to a baseball game. Like we had a lot of fun. And for me, it's only like a 6-hour drive. I didn't realize it was so close. So we will definitely be making our way up there again this year.
I know one of my bucket lists
Yeah,
is
for
going
sure.
to Arrowhead as well. You got to come down
Well,
there. and
buddy,
get
you
that
come down
barbecue.
here. We'll go to a game. We'll tailgate. Yeah, we'll do some barbecue. We'll do some tailgating. You need to come down for like a night game, Sunday night or Monday night football. It's incredible. Yeah, for sure.
That's what we should do. We should have Alec come down. AJ hasn't been there either. Have AJ and Jake come over, and we just make
Absolutely.
a party of it.
Should do it.
What's that good barbecue place you take me to out there, Choppy?
You got Joe's, which is just
That's
a
like
classic.
the gas station one, right?
Yeah, and it's so good. And then if you want something a little more like upscale barbecue, Q39. Those are probably my two favorites. I think Joe's is the best barbecue in Kansas City. And then Q39 is really, really good too. Those are my two favorite spots. But we have tons of good barbecue around the city, so we'll take you to a bunch of different spots.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Absolutely. Can't go wrong with barbecue, man. And then just like tailgating and do some barbecue that way. Just the smell of the parking lot before the game.
Can
They call
we
it
make
the-
it? Can we
they call-
make it a September game?
No, we're not going to make it a
Just asking
September
for
game.
a
We're going to
friend.
make it cold just for you.
There's only so many games you can go to in September and October.
Yeah,
John.
he's so God. What a diva.
Don't they call the Show Me State? Isn't that what the
Missouri's the show me state? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
I have no idea.
It means as cold as it is out there, I'm going to show me your nips.
Yeah. I have no idea where that came from. I'll have to look that up. I never thought about it.
I think it was like I understood it to be like something like, well, it's like if you're so good, like show me, and they like want to show you how good our barbecue is. We want to show you how good our music is, and
No.
maybe not.
Kansas City's a lot of fun. I mean, great food here. The jazz scene here is really nice if you like jazz. It's there's tons of stuff to do. They've really redone downtown. It's
How's
nice. And
everything
then-
looking for the draft? Is it starting to get wild? Like, are they closing streets? Like, I remember when the draft was in Nashville. This was a couple
Mhm.
years ago, and I was managing a distillery downtown. So I got to go to the Nashville Convention Visitors Center. Basically, we met with all the police, and they talked about like all the plans to shut down the roads and
Yep.
yada yada, and like it was like this whole production that I didn't even realize at the time. How big it is to have a draft in a place like that. Like, so are you guys kind of going through some of the same kind of steps right now?
Probably where Union Station. I'll actually be down there tomorrow because I have to go downtown for work. So where Union Station sits, you have the financial district and you have like the power and light and where the T-Mobile Arena is, everything down there. And you go across the bridges down Grand, I don't know, 6 or 7 blocks, maybe a little bit further than that. And that's where Union Station is. So it's kind of separated from like the busy area.
Oh,
I mean,
gotcha.
that area is still busy. That's on your way, like headed to the plaza. But they have the streetcar line that goes all the way down Main. It goes to the river, which is like our river market area with restaurants and stuff like that, farmers market. And then it goes down and stops at Union Station. So I'm sure they'll have the streetcar running. They may shut it off at Crown Center, which is like right before Union Station, I would expect. But we'll kind of see what it looks like tomorrow. I don't think they'll have it blocked off as far back as like the financial district or the arena. But they will probably block off Grand and Main at some point there for sure.
Yeah. See, Nashville, they just put it right in the middle of downtown. First and Broadway. Like,
yeah, that looked good.
Huge stage.
I remember that. That looked good.
It was like, let's just put it in the busiest area as possible, like of Nashville. And so, yeah, it was a shit show.
They did. So really they were going for, and I've seen pictures and stuff of the setup and like how they're going to have it. So Union Station sets, and then in front of Union Station is Liberty Memorial, which is the World War I memorial.
Okay.
So it sets up on the hill tower, and then there's open space behind it. So they're going to have that open space with all kinds of events and stuff right out in front of Union Station. They're going to have that blocked off. They built a huge stage outside of Union Station for that. So they're going to kind of create that whole district there where they're going to have all kinds of events and food and all kinds of things. So they really did it in a part of the city where they kind of have some space to work with. It's not in the heart of like the busiest part of downtown. But the backdrop and everything for the draft with Liberty Memorial behind it is going to be really, really cool. And Union Station in Kansas City is just a gorgeous building inside and out. So it'll be really cool.
Yeah. We are all probably going to be on a text thread, like just texting the hell out of each other the whole night. We talked about being there in person. I know we couldn't make it happen.
Yeah.
And, doing a draft night live stream didn't really work out either. But like, we are all going to be texting each other back and forth, just like the college national championship, NFL and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I might try to go down on Saturday. They've actually, the draft, the NFL draft, I didn't know this. It's free to get into for anybody. You just have to basically RSVP for tickets through the NFL, or for Chiefs season ticket holders, we can RSVP and go early. So I'm thinking about going down on Saturday. That's the like season ticket holder day where we can get in a little early. And the Chiefs, I think, have their most picks in a day on Saturday. So nice. I might go down there for a little bit just to check it out.
Nice. Heck yeah.
Yeah, but it'll be a really cool space where they're doing it. Kansas City's a lot of fun. And where they're doing it, I think, is going to be a really cool backdrop for the draft. I'm excited to see it.
You know what the NFL should do? They should, you know how Amazon has this thing where it's like the watch party. You can like watch a movie with somebody, but you're not in the same room.
Yeah.
They should do that, because I feel like you and us in this group, and Jake, who's not here with us tonight, and Alec, you'll be part of this thread too, probably. We're all texting each other, but we're watching different like live streams or terrestrial TV, or it's like we're all getting like, it's all coming, the information's coming in at different times. And so that'll be interesting too.
That might be interesting to do though. Like maybe we should do like hop on here and do just a live of the first round, just our reactions in the moment. I think that would be fun.
Right. But again, like we're all seeing it at different times, because there's a delay on live stream that's even more of a delay than it is on like regular TV. John, I know I think you watch cable, and
that could be even more exciting though.
It could be. Yeah, it's like
could be. Maybe we need to do that for Thursday night.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about it. Let's suss it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's hear from the experts. What do we think?
Yeah, what do you guys got?
So I was thinking, let's do it this way.
Will Levis with the number one overall pick.
Let's let Alec go. We'll do the number one pick. Alec give his and why he thinks it's number one and the fit, some of the needs they have. And then I'll give my pick, and we'll just go down through the list. What do you think, Gully? You good with that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
You're the guest, so you get to go first in the number one pick by Gully.
Well, I think we can just skip over number one and get this draft started, right? Because Carolina's going to take Bryce Young right away. There's no question.
My man. Yeah.
No question at all.
Yeah, my man.
They'd be crazy. Right. They'd be crazy if they don't. I think he fits that franchise perfectly.
I mean, he processes information like way too quickly. He reads the defense so well. It's just, there's no question.
Are you concerned about the size, Gully?
No. Isn't Russell Wilson small? I mean, he was good, right? At some point, Drew Brees.
Amen.
He was good up until this year.
Did Russell Wilson go number 1 overall?
No. He was like third round.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's my point with him. And this is the only thing. I'm going to say my piece one more time. I know we did this last week, and I'm just going to do this one more time for the sake of the audience. And I know he played for Alabama, and I get that there might be some bias here, but I don't see it. I honestly don't see it. I don't see.
Here we go.
I don't want to go down the road. I'm just going to say.
It seems like you already did. You got a foot and a half down there, buddy.
Oh, what you talking about, Willis?
Mm-hmm.
The size, I think, is an issue because the reason that the size works for other quarterbacks is because they were undervalued. He is overvalued, if not equally valued to what he should be. And the size could actually, in this case, be a hindrance. And it's not just the size that concerns me. I honestly don't think he's. Again, it's a rival of ours in Tennessee, so I'm not going to try and make this too personal, but I honestly don't know if it's the system that really made him as good as he was, or if he is as good as he is. I think it wouldn't be here's all I'm going to say. And I say this about any one of the quarterbacks in the draft, and I'll stop after. I'm just saying, it is not a sure thing with any of these guys. And Gully, you said it earlier. You said it. Where, yes, this is a heavy draft when it comes to quarterbacks, but it's also very interesting. None of these guys is a sure thing. And I think you gotta consider that with Bryce Young. I really do. I mean, you know what? And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's fine.
Do you think Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback?
Yes.
100%.
So Bryce Young, just if we're going to make the comparison, I know Hurts is a little bigger, right?
Massively different body types, 100%.
Yeah,
yes.
It's quite a bit bigger.
But the arm is better. He's more accurate. He processes information better. The tests that they do now, he scored the highest that anybody has ever scored. And when I hear that kid talk,
yeah,
and I'm big on this, he's a grown-up. I mean, his voice sounds like he hasn't hit puberty yet, but he's a guy. I'm cool giving that kid the keys to my franchise for the next 15 years. Yeah. I don't have to worry about him getting chased by the cops like Baker. I don't have to worry about him flashing money signs like Manziel. I don't have to worry about him screaming in the cameras like Ryan Leaf. I don't have to worry about him throwing 800 interceptions like Tim Couch. I just think if he fails, it's the organization's fault. It ain't going to be his.
Totally agree. And I think we should talk about this at some point, the S2 versus the Wonderlic, because that's definitely something that I think we need to bring up because
I got that on my notes here. Yep.
Okay, good. Gully, I'm glad you. No, I'm just going to say what we should bring before you do. I just want to say this one last thing to me, and this is really what I wanted to say to you, John. You were such a Tua hater, and
such a hater.
You were such a Tua hater, and to me,
I'm not a Tua hater.
You are 100% a Tua hater.
I love Tua. I just
no, you
facts.
don't.
You can't talk smack on Tua and say that Bryce Young is going to be successful in this league because they're pretty much the same person. They're the same athlete.
No.
To me,
I don't think anything's we've talked about this.
Same system. They're the same size. They both are really, really intelligent,
but AJ,
really, really good people. Go ahead, go.
Right before Tua decided to get concussed a few times, I think that Miami team was probably the number one team floating around there offensively for a little bit. I mean, who was stopping Miami?
They were definitely probably top 3 or 4. Yeah.
At that time, I mean,
they were.
Who was stopping them? So if that's the comparison,
they were looking great,
right? Besides the concussion, he doesn't have that. That team's completely different, and the playoffs and that whole entire AFC division looks completely different with them.
Well, I mean, I think the Chiefs still win it, but yeah,
no,
shut up.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
But we would have loved to see.
Sorry, I had to get that in there.
We would love to see Tyreek back in Arrowhead, right, for the AFC Championship. I mean, how many tickets would have that sold?
Oh, I would have loved it. Loved it.
So I guess here's what I'm going to say just to piggyback Gully, because I think you brought up a great point. Mm-hmm. I'm not a Tua hater. I've never been a Tua hater.
You're a Tua hater every time we talk about the poor kid.
Guys.
God.
Guys.
Roll back that beautiful bean footage.
He's never been healthy for one season in his life, not even at Alabama.
Aren't you concerned about Bryce Young for the same reason?
No, because he didn't suffer injuries at Alabama. Like, even the head, take the concussions out of it. Tua's always got something, an ACL, an MCL, a shoulder, a neck, a foot, a concussion, another. Like, he hasn't been
like the ACL
healthy.
and the concussion. You got to take
the
those out of
first
there.
game he played was the national championship game, right?
Yep.
And he throws the dime to Devon Smith to win.
Great.
After that point on, not everybody talks about the knee injury. Before that, he was banged up earlier in the year. Bryce Young hasn't been banged up.
Yeah.
Right? And plus, just to be fair, when we talk about him and Tua's body type, and I think, Gully, you mentioned this, Bryce Young's way better moving around in the pocket than Tua is. Everybody thinks Tua is like fast and has good pocket presence. No, he is a pocket passer that can barely move.
Yeah.
Like Tua is the way Tua plays is like a 6'4", 6'5" quarterback. And he ain't that. Bryce Young is like Jalen Hurts. He's going to move around, not to run, but to get lanes to throw. I just think the kid's a can't miss. Like, I have no issues with him.
No, for me, the size of Bryce Young doesn't really bother me. Like, this kid's going to get in an NFL weight room. He's going to get in OTAs. They're going to put some muscle on him. The size doesn't, but do I think he's a surefire thing? I don't think you can say that for any player in any draft, just because the variables are so unknown. And the transition from the college game to the NFL game, you know, we've seen players in the past. We've seen quarterbacks in the past in college that were like, oh my God, they're going to be the best NFL quarterback. And then they get to the NFL and things are vastly different. I think Bryce Young is 100% the best quarterback to be taken in the first round. I think he should be the first pick. But if he ends up fizzling out just because the game is so much different, I can't say that I'm going to be surprised. We've seen it so many times. So many times.
My last thing with why I like him at Carolina as well is because Carolina has a top 10 run offense, right? I think they were number 10, actually. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to help him out a lot, being able to run a lot of play action, get him out of the pocket, get him mobile, get him running around, checking down little, you know. I don't think they're going to just let him come in and just slang it because they trade away their best receiver. I don't know who else he has to throw the ball to right now, so they're going to have to rely on the run.
I think he's going to be throwing it to the popcorn guy. Like, they don't have any receivers in Carolina. They better draft some.
But yeah, and you bring up both of you just touched on, but Frank Reich's going to protect him, right? They're going to hand the ball off. Frank Reich's going to run the same system that Andy Reid runs, that Frank Reich ran with Doug Peterson at Philadelphia, right? So it's going to be, so I guess here's where I feel so good about it is when a young quarterback's been drafted by an Andy Reid, right? And look, Donovan McNabb, I'm not trying to open up this bucket of worms, but he was no good. Andy Reid made him good, right? Yep. And he had a really nice career with Andy Reid. Yep. Then Andy Reid gets Pat Mahomes. Well, it looks like that works, right?
Yeah.
And then to see what Doug Peterson and Frank Reich did with Carson Wentz in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, that worked. Yeah. And then to see what Doug Peterson has turned, people wanted to write Trevor Lawrence off. And now he's probably the third, fourth best quarterback in the league.
Oh my God. Every time we have an episode, he gets higher and higher. He's not a top 3 quarterback.
I got no problem saying Frank Reich and Bryce Young are going to work. I got no problems. None.
Trevor Lawrence is not a top 3 quarterback in the NFL.
Did he just
what are you
that
smoking?
High?
Yeah.
Did he just take him out of the top 5?
And you love
as much damn football game.
I know you love blondes, but like at this point, it's
that has nothing to do with it.
I think it does.
Listen, watch the Bean footage. Just watch this year, and
I've watched it. He's not a top 3 quarterback. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
God, I'd give you like top 7, top 6, but
you're
top
crazy.
3.
He's way higher.
We did top 5 last.
He's
I
way
think
higher.
Hurts is better.
Chop. All right.
Let's get back to the draft.
Number 2.
All right.
That's the most absurd comment you've made. And you've made a lot of them.
Just a fact, man.
All right. Number 2. Music for Gully, please.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, gotta have the music.
and the Houston Texans finally get this draft started because we already know Bryce Young's going 1. And I have no idea what Houston's going to do here. I mean, they need so much help everywhere on both sides of the ball. Gun to my head. They take CJ. They take CJ Stroud, quarterback, right. Ohio State University. And I mean, I understand to bring up your point about the S2 test, right? He scored a 17. And there's a stat out there that if you score under, no quarterback has been successful with a score under 74 or 75, something like that. So, but then the guy, I don't know how these scores got leaked anyways, right? Does somebody just post on the internet saying that these guys got these scores because aren't they supposed to be behind? Yeah. Right. So that kind of
they're supposed
makes
to be,
me a little cautious about this.
So he scored a 17 is what he scored on?
Yeah, it's like a 17 out of 100 or something like that. So basically they have like a little tablet, right? And it takes them through like little sequences of like how quick they can react and etc. But they said he did it like 11 p.m.
CJ Stroud scored a 17 out of 100?
17 out of 100. Yeah.
Jeez.
So Gully, walk us through real quick, this test, because it is pretty new, and I think there's a lot of people that aren't familiar with the nuances of this test and how different it is from something like the Wonderlic, right? Which for years people have, I would say the last like few years, people have like kind of said that it's this, test of QB intelligence, but really it's not. It's just general intelligence. Like, how is S2 different from the Wonderlic, and like what's so great about this?
All I know is that when I was reading about it, is these guys, they get little sequences of things that they need to complete in a timely manner, right? And so it's basically like so you got to be able to correct, yeah. And which at the quarterback position at the NFL, that's the game. It's a game of milliseconds, right? So you have to be able to do that. But the one thing I did also deep dive in a little bit further, not just reading the headlines, is that he took the test super late at night. It was like 11 p.m. at night or something like that.
Oh wow!
Yeah. But when you go back and you watch him against Georgia, I don't remember seeing any second guessing or anything like that. I mean,
right?
That guy tore apart arguably the best college football team we've seen in a long time, right? Yeah. So,
for me, I think with a score that low, and I actually pulled it up. Not all the scores were released, but some of them were. So, but to score a 17, I feel like you're not even trying. And I think the knock on CJ Stroud, especially when he met with teams, was that arrogance. I don't need any input. I know what I'm doing. I don't need any help. So for him to score that low tells me either he's cognitively just not as quick, or you just didn't care about the test.
Didn't try. Yeah.
You were just going. That's like not putting your name on the test just to get the 10 points. Like the dude didn't even try. Yeah. If you're getting that low, you didn't even attempt that test, which as you look at these young quarterbacks, right? And especially ones drafted in the first round. The team is basically giving you the franchise. They're giving you the keys to the Ferrari. For me, as an owner or a GM that's looking at that, if you're scoring a 17 or 18%, you didn't even try. Like you really didn't even try. Mm-hmm. So those scores that look like were released, Bryce Young, 98%, Jake Haener, Fresno State, 96%. We talk about Haener a lot on here. Will Levis, 93%. Jaron Hall from BYU, 93%. Clayton Tune from Houston, 84%. Anthony Richardson from Florida, 79%. Hendon Hooker from Tennessee, 46%. CJ Stroud, 18%. Like that just tells me he didn't even give it a fair shake.
Yeah, that seems so weird.
I don't even think he tried.
Why do y'all seem shocked? He played quarterback at Ohio State. None of them have ever did a darn thing. Why do y'all act so surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. To me, that doesn't, I don't think an 18% is his mental capability. I think that's he just didn't give a shit is what I think it was.
And that could affect a lot of things, right? Like the attitude and sort of how teams value that. And then, you know what? Hey, way I look at it, if the Texans want him, you can have him. If he's going to give you issues because of his attitude, and
I think the Texans don't want any more issues.
The Texans want Bryce Young.
Yeah,
they want Bryce.
Right.
They're praying and hoping that Carolina screws this up. They've already said if Bryce Young's there, they're taking him. I mean, again, I don't think he is, but
so my other choice, I was going to go with the defensive side. I'd go with like a pass rusher, you know, with DeMeco Ryans there now, etc. Wanting to build that defense, get a good rush going, and you know, I don't think they want any more off the field issues with like a Jalen Carter or anything like that. So you got Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson there to fill in that defensive line. You get DeMeco Ryans a stud right away, you know, but. For me,
I think either one of those
they
are
gotta
really
go,
good options for Houston.
Right, but you know, I had to pick somebody, I'm picking Stroud.
Yeah, I mean, but to your point, like you go defense, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this. They go defense. You got, you know, is Davis Mills really that bad of an option if you actually figure out how to put weapons around him? You know, I think of him like someone like we have, like a Tannehill or. You know,
he's
it's
probably
like
serviceable.
Yeah, I mean, or a Danny Dimes. You know, it's like if you have the right system and right weapons around him, and you build off of that. I don't know. You know, so you got a good point. You know, you could go defense, and you're probably not hurting yourself terribly.
Well, it's funny you should say that because in my mock draft at number 2, I have the Texans. Nobody else I've seen has this. Everybody thinks this is a Will Anderson spot. I'm going Tyree Wilson, the defensive end pass rusher out of Texas Tech. Keep him at home in Texas. Will Anderson is a much more finished product right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, he's ready to play right now. But Tyree Wilson has the far bigger upside. His length is greater. His speed is greater. He could put on another 15, 20 pounds of muscle. He's a little bit raw, but what he was able to do, Tyree Wilson has the bigger upside. Now, Will Anderson, he's plug and play right now. Mm-hmm. You know, I've heard some comps to Von Miller. I think that's pretty lofty because Von Miller's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer.
He's a monster.
But Tyree Wilson, I think we talked about there's going to be some surprises. And I'm not going to be surprised if trades start blowing this all up. Neither me or Gully factor trades in. But I'm going to go Tyree Wilson, number 2, the edge rusher out of Texas Tech, to the Texans.
Yep.
Very
good.
Good pick. He was one of my 3, and the crazy thing is, there's little rumors going around that my boys are going to try to get this pick, which I don't know who we're going to give up for it. Who we're going to give him Daniil. I don't know who. I've been asking the guys at work. I'm like, who do we have to offer them to go that high?
He's sitting at 23 right now. It's like,
who would the Vikings take with that pick?
Well, their quarterback. I've seen them take every quarterback from the ones in this draft to digging Johnny Unitas up out of the dirt. I mean, everybody's got them drafting a quarterback one way or the other. But my thing is, to your point, Gully, I get, okay, Cousins is under contract 2 more years. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I think 2.
Yeah. So, but don't you almost, with his cap hit, got to give him up to move up that high? Because to your point, how are you getting up that high?
You restructure his contract and figure out how to.
I mean, that's a huge jump. And then if you're Houston,
that's a meeting that you have to sit down with Justin Jefferson, right? No.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the guy running that show anyway, or at least he should. You got to keep that guy happy if nobody else.
Yes.
You don't think the Texans would want Cousins if they get a hold of him? Like, I think Cousins still a good quarterback.
No. Listen, I think Kirk Cousins, I'm in the minority. I like Cousins as a quarterback a lot. I think he's serviceable. Mm-hmm. I think right coach, right pieces, he can get you in an NFC championship game. I really believe that. I know he sucks at prime time, blah, 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 but not all that's his fault. However, Houston needs so much help that for Houston to be relevant, they need to do it the old Seattle way, right? Which is you get the defense, you get all that, then you bring a quarterback in on a rookie deal, right? Like we keep seeing that be what works, right? Yeah. Pat Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, like again, Joe Burrow, you look at all these teams, they got all these defenses and all these good skill players, and now it's just plug and play a quarterback on a rookie deal. Like it, I mean, the blueprint's there, unless you're, a team that gets everything wrong like Washington. Anyway, on to number 3.
All right, number 3.
With the 3rd pick, the Arizona Cardinals select Will Anderson, edge, Bama.
That'd be
Very
good.
nice.
I mean, Arizona, they need everything too, right? I mean, obviously they got Call of Duty boy on the other side of the ball. He can't, that guy.
That dude. Jesus.
Well, you know what? Real quick, I'm going to let you handle this whole 3rd pick, Gully, because I also have Will Anderson going to the Cardinals. But I want to change that up now. I would like the Cardinals to take Call of Duty 7 with the 3rd pick.
Modern warfare.
I think they're already going to get that.
They need help. They need help on the defense side of the ball. They need help on both sides of the ball, right? But you start with a good pass rush and go from there. I mean, he's a Bama guy. He's polished. He's ready to go. We already talked about it. He's plugged in.
Be a great pick for them. It would be.
Yeah.
Great pick.
I mean, because the Cardinals were, good when JJ was there, right? So, with him being gone, he's been gone, but he came back. But yeah, they need to get somebody there to fire up that side of the ball.
Yeah, and they're losing Buda Baker, right? So you lost him. You lost Chandler Jones a year ago.
Mm-hmm. That was a tough loss.
They need to solidify the edge. Now, I don't think it's going to happen because I think Will Anderson's there, and unless the Cardinals trade the pick, if the Cardinals keep the pick, I'm with you, Gully. They got to take Will Anderson if he's there. I mean,
have to.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they took one of these tackles either, right? Either Skornonsky or Paris Johnson. I wouldn't be surprised because they do need offensive line help, right? I mean, you're married to Kyler Murray now, him and the game system. You paid him the money. He's already out, the first 4 to 6 weeks, something like that.
I think it's longer than that. It's like 6 to 8 weeks.
I don't know. But you got to protect the guy. So I think Will Anderson, I'm with you, Gully, it's got to be the pick. But I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be like, oh, that's a horrible pick if they did take a tackle.
Right. And I think 2 and 3 both could be traded away, and that's going to just throw a wrench into everything.
Easily could be.
I think there's going to be a ton of trades in this draft.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of movement.
Look, everybody's saying that, and we're saying this, and watch. It'll be the most vanilla draft. There won't be one trade in the first round.
I'm going to tell you, there's going to be some.
Well, a lot of it really depends on how the picks go down, right? Because each team has their guy that they have their eye on, right? Or that they really want. And if that guy falls, or if he moves outside of what this projected kind of draft is, you'll see them move up. Or if that guy gets taken early, you might see them move down and try and get more draft capital, right? So it's like, we don't know who these teams are eyeing necessarily. I mean, we kind of have a good idea of like what the pieces are that they need to fill, but in the end, it's really they have somebody that they have their pieces that they really know they need to fill, and then they have this guy that's kind of like, okay, if this dude falls,
if he's within striking distance, and we only got to move up 4 or 5 spots, we're going
right, yeah, exactly.
So it goes back to the Sean Payton story he's talking about when the Saints were about to trade up for Mahomes, and the Chiefs hopped right into where, and Sean Payton was the first one that said, Reed's taking Mahomes. We just lost him. Which is crazy because those were the only 2 guys on them was Peyton and Reed. But anyway, all right, 4th pick.
The Indianapolis Colts stay irrelevant, and they draft Richardson, quarterback out of Florida. I mean, I don't. I just think I don't know.
That's exactly what I
Yeah, I know you're not high on him, and either am I, but I think our boy Will, he drops. Now here's the thing: is that now depending on what Houston, Arizona does, is Stroud available at 4? If Texans go defense, now Stroud's available at 4, right? But I just don't think Will Levis. I mean, when's the last time a muscle quarterback has done well in the NFL?
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. I actually got the Colts taking Stroud. You put him indoors on that turf where he's played before, right? I think that's a good, and they got some weapons, right? Pierce, the receiver out of Cincinnati. They got the other wide receiver out of Ohio State.
Pittman.
His name escapes me right now.
Michael Pittman.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Michael Pittman. You got Jonathan
They come from the
Taylor.
same spot.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yep, you got the Eagles offensive coordinator coming over. So, I think CJ Stroud. Look, I don't think any of these quarterbacks that we're talking about in the first round are going to be worth a darn. But I get it. If you're one of these teams, you're almost forced to take one because that's your issue as quarterback, and there's none out there. So you're going to have to take a swing. I like Stroud in Indianapolis. I think that's the best fit for him. And I think that's the best fit for the Colts. And we already know the Colts are taking a quarterback. There's no way around that. Whether they trade up or they stay at 4, the Colts are taking a quarterback. So I think CJ Stroud is best for both sides.
We've been hearing for the last years. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just because they're in our division. It's like I've watched this travesty of like the Colts, which I'm happy to watch, but it's also like kind of sad, right? It's like the Phillip Rivers and the Matt Ryans, and it's kind of like they have to accept reality here that they have to start rebuilding this franchise and get a young quarterback in there. But who is that quarterback and how does he fit? Was it Stroud? Is it Richardson? Gully, I know you got Richardson, but it's also like some people got Levis, right? And it's like it's at one, and the one thing that I'm not concerned about is the Colts because it will take some time for whoever that person is, if they are the right guy, to get to where they need to be. The things I'm concerned about in the AFC South is, our blonde friend over there in Jacksonville, and then even I'm concerned about Houston because I've always been concerned about Houston. They've been a formidable opponent for years and years, and I think they'll rebuild pretty quickly. The Colts, I'm not so concerned about, no matter who they pick, really. Whether it's Levis, Stroud, or Richardson at this point.
Yeah, I think the Texans are like 2-3 years out from being anything special. With it's going to take D'Amico a couple years to get that going around. But I mean, I'm sick of hearing though for Indy the last couple of years is that all they need is a quarterback, right? They have all the pieces around them, and all they need is a quarterback. And they've been trying all these different guys, and nothing has worked out. So I guess we'll see. Right. We'll see what happens on draft day.
So you got Richardson and John's got Stroud, right?
I got Stroud. Now, just, for the gambling part of it, I want to go back to number 3 real quick. If you were to take Will Anderson to be the 3rd pick overall, he's plus 450. I think that's really good value. I mean, you got plus 450 for Anderson to go 3rd. I think that's good. If you go with Gully and say Anthony Richardson's going 4th, for him to go 4th plus 300, Stroud plus 250. So again, good plus value. You can't be laying any of this minus 1,300 with Bryce Young or Will Levis plus 150 to go number 2. That's just absurd. I mean, that makes me throw up in my mouth.
Jeez.
All right, moving on to the 5th one.
Yes, sir.
With the 5th pick, Seattle Seahawks, they take Jalen Carter from Georgia. And I think that just Pete Carroll, even with the off the field, right? Yeah, they need some help on the defensive line getting that rush. Even though with the off the field issues, Pete Carroll, he runs a tight ship. I think he's going to get that boy right, and I think it's a steal, honestly, at the 5th pick for them. So
I do too. I like that pick for Seattle. I think that would be huge for them. And they need to get that defense back to where, that defense used to frighten people, and here lately it definitely has not. So getting that defense right, especially where they play, that home crowd, being able to have that defense kind of feed that for them, I think will help a lot. That'd be a great, great pickup for Seattle.
Yeah, well, 90% of the mock drafts I've seen, really 99% of them have had Jalen Carter going 5, so I get the pick. but I'm biased here, so because I don't want Carter to go there. So with the 5th pick, I'm actually going to go. Seattle's going to take the edge rusher out of Georgia, Nolan Smith. Hasn't been talked about a lot. Again, great body frame, really good footwork. Again, has the length, has the motor. You're getting a guy out of Georgia that's polished, ready to go, no off the field issues. You can turn him loose on the edge. Seattle needs somebody that can get to the quarterback. Again, I said this past couple shows, and I do believe it. I believe Jalen Carter's the only one of his type, and he's the second best player in the draft. And Pete Carroll does good with these, troubled players, getting them turned around. But they need somebody who can get after the quarterback, right? Jalen Carter's not going to get after the quarterback. He's going to stuff the run and cause havoc. And I really think Seattle just throws a curveball here and takes Nolan Smith, the edge out of Georgia.
Okay.
I could see that.
6th pick, AJ.
All right.
With the 6th pick, the Detroit Lions, who scare the crap out of me now. I think they take the cornerback out of Oregon. Baby. Gonzalez out of Oregon. He's a real tall, lengthy guy. Right. He can get a lot of man-to-man coverage. They need help. Obviously, they can score, right? And I think they need help on that defensive side of the ball. But it wouldn't surprise me if this draft falls and somehow they end up with a quarterback here as well. Goff, they get a quarterback on a rookie deal and add some pieces around that young team that they already got. We'll see how the dominoes fall here, but I think that's a possibility as well. But if I had to pick, I'm going to do Gonzalez out of Oregon.
I think you brought up a great point. I do think they're going defense here, but I think I'm right with you. I think the Lions are going to draft a quarterback somewhere 3rd or 4th round, and they're going to get one of these guys I really like a Jake Hayner or a Duggan. I'm with you there, Gully, 100%. You read my mind there. Now, the 6th pick, again, I said I'm biased because this is where I want him to go because I'm kind of getting on this Lions train a little bit, right? I'm a Dan Campbell guy. Jalen Carter, that just fits there. It works there. I want it. I want to see it. Look,
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it at all. I don't want to see it.
I know you don't.
No, I don't.
But him and Aiden Hutchinson beside each other would just create an absolute buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Like for any offensive line they're playing against. And so I'm going to go Jalen Carter here, 6 to the Lions.
Dan Campbell could definitely get him right too. And if I had to cheer for anybody outside the Vikes in the NFC North, it's definitely going to be the Lions, right? Because I'm not cheering for the Packers or Bears. I'm with you. No, never. You can never do that. But the Lions, it's the underdog story, right? Dan Campbell, who you got to love that guy. So,
and even
if I had to cheer for somebody,
yeah, Goff's in the Super Bowl and just gets tossed to the Wolves, right? Number 1 pick goes to the Super Bowl, tossed to the Wolves. I just like the story, man. I like the story of the Lions. I said this, and AJ wrote it down. Either the Lions or the Vikings will play in this year's NFC Championship game. And I firmly believe it.
I like it.
Number 7.
I like it.
My Raiders. The greatness of the Raiders.
The Oakland Raiders with the 7th pick a cornerback. Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois.
All right.
Ooh, good pick for them.
Yeah, I think here's the thing with him. He fits Raider Nation, right? So when I think of a defensive guy on Oakland Raiders, as a rah-rah guy, talks a lot of trash, talks a lot of smack, and that's him. He's going to get in your face, and he's gonna man you up, and he's going to play good coverage. So I think he fits well in Oakland. But again, I don't know how this draft's going to fall, but they could be sitting there at a quarterback spot too. Right? All these teams, there's a lot of teams that need a quarterback in this top 10. So,
and we talked about in this draft a lot. There's so much, I think we've beaten it like a dead horse, but I think there's so much quarterback value rounds 2 and 3. in this draft.
100%.
There's
That's where I
so
think
much
the
value.
The Raiders for sure pick up something right there. Because what? They got Garoppolo, right? I mean, they can afford to pick up a second or third round QB.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To your
And
point,
let him
Josh.
sit behind
There's
Garoppolo
so
and learn.
Much value there. Yes.
Yep.
I mean, because we pretty much know Garoppolo is going to get hurt, right? So, I mean, they do need to have somebody there, right?
Yeah. Or Jimmy G. Well, look, again, great minds think alike, Gully. I got Weatherspoon here, man. 180 pounds out of Illinois, plays like he's 215, right? Now he needs to add a little bit of muscle on that 6 foot frame, but I just love how this guy plays. I mean, he's a Ty Law prototype, right? He's going to get up and jam you. He's going to talk trash. He's very competitive at the catch point, right? He's a ball hawk. He's going to be physical. Doesn't have like the blazing speed, but what I like is he's going to come up and play the flat aggressive, right? He's going to tackle. He's going to play the run game. He's going to get after these receivers on these short screens. And I'm with you. When I think of a Raider, I think of this guy, right? Elite competitor, fiery, plays downhill, plays reckless. I think Weatherspoon's the perfect pick here with the Raiders. And look, yeah, do they need a quarterback? But I think they're like the Lions. We got our quarterback for this year and next year. Let's draft one late. But right now, look, the Raiders, I mean, this is just me. I don't understand why they're getting off why they got off the Derek Carr train. Clearly, I've seen this Raiders team, look at the Vikings. The Vikings won 10 games by like 3 points or something like that this year, something crazy. Your team.
Yeah, and we lost that many games the year before that. Same concept.
Year before. So look at the Raiders. The Raiders lost like 8 or 9 games where they had double-digit leads and blew them. So
that was us the year
right
before
there.
last.
Yeah, so the Raiders have to go defense. How's a quarterback change? No matter who you draft's not going to be better than Derek Carr that you just let walk out the door. And they're not going to be better than Jimmy G, right? So right now they got to sew up the defense, and I think Weatherspoon's the perfect pick.
I think the comparisons with Carr and Cousins are kind of the same, right? They get all the blame for all the blown leads, but they don't talk about, especially for the Vikings having, what do we have? The 30th defense, the 31st defense, and last year we had the 32nd. So we've had the bottom 3 defenses the last 3 years in a row, but yet it's Cousins' fault, right? I don't understand that.
Yeah. Hey, that's going to get fixed because Brian Flores is going to kick butt and take names there.
I hope, man. I hope.
Biggest signing of the offseason. Anyhow.
All right, number 8. With the 8th pick, the Atlanta Falcons, I have actually Tyree Wilson all the way down here out of Texas Tech, the edge rusher. My other thing that I was also, kind of pondering here is that they were going to take Bijan Robinson here and go way against the grain. Even though I know they got the young, what's his name, Michael Turner? Is that who they drafted last year? Wasn't he a rookie? Turner, I think his name was. But they got the rookie quarterback.
Cordell Patterson played more.
Yeah. But, Cordell Patterson, let's see if he can keep it up. But then they also, they had an offensive weapon here. But I think they need so much help on defense. I think they were bottom 3 in pressure in the league. They go get the edge rusher, Tyree Wilson.
Be a good pickup for them.
Yeah, I mean, they would be ecstatic if that happened because you're right. They do need a pass rusher, but I don't think Wilson's going to be there. And again, you must be cheating. I got him taking Bijan Robinson, right? You got Pitts, right? You got that passing game. Now you're going to have a running. Bijan Robinson, again, Bryce Young, Jalen Carter, and Bijan Robinson's right there. Bijan Robinson's the best offensive skill player, and it ain't even close in this draft. Like, it ain't even close, right? That guy, I mean, he can catch out of the backfield. He can run the ball. He would take a lot. Atlanta seems like they're going to roll with Desmond Ridder. Me, I just say best of luck to you. But if you're going to do that, you better have some pieces around the kid if you want him to be successful. Because Desmond Ridder, I don't believe, can go out there and do Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen type things. I don't see that at all. Didn't see it at Cincinnati. don't see it now. So you're going to need pieces around him. And so I got Bijan going number 8 to Hotlanta.
Yeah, I could see them downplaying
Which-
this and trading out of this pick and going down a little bit to get themselves a receiver too, you know, and get a couple more picks in the draft. But
Yeah, I mean they that wouldn't be a bad thing for them. Now, if you take them to take a what is it here? If you take them to take a defensive back here, right? If Gonzalez slipped down, plus 400 for the Falcons to take a defensive somebody on the defensive secondary. So running back plus 225.
all right, number 9. The Chicago Bears with the 9th pick, they go and get some help for their boy Justin Fields. They select the offensive tackle Paris Johnson from his alma mater as well, Ohio State University. I mean, they got to protect their franchise guy. They got the receiver. I also think that maybe that Bijan could go here as well. I forget. What happened with Montgomery? Is he around still?
Nah, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, they got Herbert back there or whatever. Yeah, the other Herbert. I mean, he's decent. But also I could see Bijan going here 8 or 9. You like him at 8? I could see him going at 9, but I think they gotta protect Justin Fields here.
Yeah, I got the Bears going tackle as well, but I got him taking Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern. More of a pass blocking specialist. Now, he's not so good against the run. I actually think he's going to play more right tackle than left tackle. That's just me. But I like him a little bit better than Paris Johnson, right? And I love his pass blocking ability, his balance overall. You know, it's a pass pro type offensive tackle. He's the best pass protecting tackle. Maybe not the best tackle, but he's the best pass protecting tackle. And I think, again, you need to get Justin Fields out of running so much or you're going to get him killed, right? So I like a tackle here, but I'm going to go Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern with the 9th pick.
Number 10. With the 10th pick, the Philadelphia Eagles, this is where I got Bijan Robinson going. I think that you add him into that offense with Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. Now you give him a running back that can line up in the slot. I mean, they're comparing him to Christian McCaffrey here. So then I go back to the Super Bowl, right? You can have the best defense in the world, and you still can't stop Patty Mahomes, right? So the only way to beat the Chiefs is to outscore them. So you add, arguably the best running back we've seen since Saquon Barkley in a draft, and you get yourself that weapon.
Yeah, I mean, God, imagine them with Bijan because they let Miles Sanders go, right? So that would be nice to plug and play. You didn't have to give him the big contract. You get somebody on a rookie deal. But I'm going to go with what I think is a bigger need for the Eagles. Again, you just gave Jalen Hurts that big contract. What do you need to do? You need to protect him. Kelsey's probably one more year. Lane Johnson, he's had some injuries. So I'm going to go offensive tackle out of Ohio State, Paris Johnson here. He'll set in the pass pro set. He's a good anchor. Struggles a little bit with strong edge rushers. So, Thibodeau and Chase Young, that might hurt him a little bit. Micah Parsons there in the NFC. But I think you can start him again like Skoronski. Start him at right tackle. Leave Lane Johnson at the left tackle, right? Let him learn from Lane, who's an amazing talent. 2 to 3 years, he slides over that left tackle spot, but he's a starter day one. So I like Paris Johnson, tackle out of Ohio State to go to Philadelphia and protect their investment, Jalen Hurts.
With the 11th overall pick, the Tennessee Titans select Will Levis.
No, there it goes. The dagger right in his heart. I love it.
I can see this.
Gully. Thank you.
I mean, he looks like a Tennessee boy, right?
Oh wow, it looks like a Tennessee guy.
No, I don't.
Stop being a damn fool.
We'll see here. I mean, I think
Never.
Tennessee could also probably try to trade up here and try to get somebody else maybe that they want. But what about Hooker here at this spot too? You know, another Tennessee boy.
I don't think you can take him at 11.
Yeah.
I understand, but I mean, Tennessee having problem filling the seats right now.
True.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, look, I mean, I've heard every scenario on our local radio here in Nashville that we could possibly hear when it comes to like what we could take here at number 11. Hooker would be great. I think if we could get lucky enough to get Hooker at the end of the first, to trade up for something, or in the second, that would be amazing. But man, there's too many holes to fill. So I really think there's only two scenarios. I think you go offensive tackle with Scarante, Paris Johnson, or Broderick Jones, something like that. Because with Lawan gone, and Ben Jones gone, it's like there's just too many holes, right? So you go conventional like that, or you trade up, you get or maybe even take a Bijan, and if there's something where maybe there's talks from trade of Henry, which is painful to say as I'm wearing his jersey, but it's something that's a reality and it could happen. Is it going to happen on draft night like it did last year with AJ Brown? Probably not. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to learn from their mistake there. Probably not going to go through that again. But there's those are really two scenarios that I see. You trade up and you go after somebody like a Richardson, maybe, if Stroud, if he falls or something. If one of these guys, these quarterbacks fall. If not, you probably stay conventional and you go like offensive tackle.
Well, I think your franchise is doomed because I'm taking Anthony Richardson.
You think he falls that far?
Look, I don't.
He should fall farther.
There. Thank you, Chop. That's the
He
smartest thing
should
you
fall a
said.
lot further than that.
Wow.
I don't think Anthony Richardson.
Well, if he does,
talent.
If he does, I actually agree with you. I mean, if he does fall that far, I mean, how can you pass that up, right? At 11.
Man, y'all jumped on Malik Willis quick. I mean, y'all didn't even take him down to the local 7-Eleven for a Slurpee. Y'all just said, get out.
I was never on that train. Never. Just Liberty, really? Liberty. And he's,
easy on Liberty.
Well, I got
That's God's country, buddy.
Well, I know you got affinity towards that, but I got to see him in person. When I saw that, I was like, oh gosh, that's not it. Anyways.
Yeah, I could definitely see Will and
too?
Anthony leaving, going all the way down. I mean, besides Stroud and Bryce Young, I mean, it kind of falls off after that. Pretty heavy in my eyes.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I think it's a huge drop off. A huge drop off.
Well, there's talks about moving, restructuring Tannehill's contract a little bit, free open some cap space, maybe keep him a couple extra years. I think a lot of people in Tennessee are kind of averse to that. It's not like Tannehill is like so bad that we're ready to move on. I think it's one more good year, but like what's behind it, I think is the concern. And so that's why I do think a quarterback at this spot is interesting. It has to be the right value though, right? It has to be a guy that falls to a point where you're like, okay, like we have to take that, right? Or you wait to second round, you get someone like a Hooker, That's the way you got to go about it to me.
Yeah, I can't get on the Richardson or Levis train. I don't see it. I just don't see it.
I agree.
All right.
12
with the 12th pick, the Texans.
With the 12th pick, the Houston select wide receiver Jackson Smith at Ohio State, and they look at two teams in the NFL. They look at the Bengals and they look at the Eagles, and they see the back receiver combinations that they've had in coming from college, and they replicate that themselves. And this kid Jackson, I mean, before he had some hamstring issues, but before that, he was the number one receiver on that team. So hopefully, I mean, he stays healthy here.
He's a beast, man.
Yeah, they take a shot. They get two guys that have played together a lot, and they try to copycat, Burrow and Chase and Devontae and Hurts, right? So.
Well, I like, typically in these drafts, Chop, you talk about this all the time. Once a position is picked and it's the first one, there tends to be these runs. You talk about that all the time. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Like you and I, you've said this, Chop, whenever whoever the first tight end to be taken, there's going to be like 2 or 3 within 5 picks.
Yep.
And so I think the same thing happens here with the offensive tackles. So like the Bears at 9, the Eagles at 10, the Titans, they're taking a quarterback there. So at 12, I got the Texans taking Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. Now look, I got some questions about him. I know everybody brings up what he did to Will Anderson in the Alabama game. That's great. But like, other than that, he hasn't put a lot of good stuff on tape. I see it, right? And I see that you could coach it out of him. But he's going to have to go to the right place. And again, I just think Houston is going to say, okay, like D'Amico Ryans, he's going to say the game of football is won in the trenches. So I need a defensive pass rusher and I need an offensive tackle, right? We got to start building. I mean, because honestly, that's where the game is won and lost, right? It is offensive and defensive line. Yes, you need a quarterback, but the second most important thing is an offensive and defensive line. So I think they go tackle here, Darnell Wright out of Tennessee.
All right, fair enough.
I had to switch this because now with the 13th pick, the Green Bay Packers have that with the trade. I have them taking Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame. They're going to give Jordan Love a weapon across the field, a little check down blanket. I think they got some, upside with their young receivers, but they need a tight end for him.
Gully with the first tight end taken in the first round.
Yeah, I don't know. I think their defense it's not bad, right? So we'll see. I think Aaron Rodgers was missing a tight end last year himself. What did Tunya? He got hurt somewhere through the year or something along. Yeah, I think he got hurt. He wasn't the same. So I think you give him a little blanket, a little security blanket, and I think that's the best overall tight end. You're going to have a guy that could be, a captain for, 10 plus years in that locker room. He's a good kid out of Notre Dame.
Yeah. Well,
I want him to go to the Chiefs so bad.
No,
I want him in red.
Far. You wanted Mayer?
So here's my thing. I will not be surprised in this draft if the Chiefs trade up to get Mayer.
Wow.
Because I think you pair him with Travis Kelce, that's going to be a nightmare.
You don't trade up that far to get somebody that you already
No, I don't think you're going to have to trade up that far. I mean, I could see Mayer going to the Packers that early, but I think Mayer probably falls a little bit further into the first round.
Yeah, you're probably right. He might fall more than that. Yeah, he could.
I think Kincaid ends up going before Mayer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the Packers need tight end, wide receiver, defensive line, linebacker, offensive line. So before we go back, because I want to go back to this Mayer conversation, is I got him taking the tackle out of Georgia, Broderick Jones. Again, run on offensive tackles. There's only one. I mean, there's 4 good ones there, right? And again, you got Jordan Love coming in. They got the young receivers out there, right? You can still, there's going to be tight ends available, right, in this draft. Darnell Washington out of Georgia, Luke Musgrave out of Oregon State, Sam Laporta out of Iowa, Tucker Kraft out of South Dakota State. You can get your tight end in the second round if you're Green Bay to get a franchise tackle, right? And they've had tons of offensive line, Bakhtari and all that. He's already wanting out because Aaron's not going to be there. I think you solidify it with Broderick Jones. And then to the 14th pick, the Patriots. I just want to jump ahead of you here, Gully. Music. please. Theme music. Yeah, the little today. I hear nothing. He's working on it. All right. Well, we ruined that. But anywho, Patriots at 14. There is no way, guys, in this draft. If it's not at 14, the Patriots are going to trade up with the Eagles or Titans. I think the shock of the whole draft for me, there's two. Bryce Young not going number 1, and the Patriots not finding a way to take Michael Mayer.
Yeah.
Because he's Gronk 2.0. And you got Bill O'Brien back. Belichick's been getting beat up. Mac Jones needs a blankie. The Patriots are going to draft Michael Mayer. For them not to go after him, again, he reminded the prototype, he's Gronk all over again. Right? Yeah. So you can't let that slip in New England. I mean, they always need so much help offensively, so much help. And I think with Bill O'Brien back, that's going to be their pick. Sorry, I jumped ahead of you, but y'all were talking about Michael Mayer, so
we can do a little speed it up here because so you were just talking about runs on positions, and this is where I kind of have my offensive line run starting here. Then with New England taking the boy out of Northwestern, Peter Skoronski. How do you say it? Skoronski?
Skoronski. Yes, Skoronski.
Skoronski. Yeah, that's what I think.
Hey, Skoronski, come on, get you some bagels.
That's who I think they take there. Obviously, I think he's a good fit there. And then just to jump down right then to just do the run with the Jets. I mean, I think that's where Broderick Jones goes for me from Georgia to get some Aaron Rodgers, a little bit of protection, get them. They have some O-line issues, obviously. Mr. Wilson, Zach Wilson, and all those guys are running for their lives the whole entire time. At the end of the year, I just watching that game. I think we had a bet on them too, John. Towards the end of the year, we had the Jets or something money line, and I was just watching that game. It started snowing, and I'm just watching Zach Wilson. I'm just like, how is this guy even an NFL quarterback?
He's awful. He is awful.
Yeah.
And
you're right. Awful. We did have them. I'm trying to think of who it was against, though. I want to say it was against Pittsburgh.
No, it was a playoff. It was to go into the playoffs. One of them, or if the Jets had a win to make the playoffs or something like that. Was it Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh won at the last second?
I think you're right. I don't know. I've had so many bad losses in the past 48 hours, I forgot about the other bad losses.
Yeah.
Right.
But look, the Jets need offensive line, defensive line, tight end, linebacker, and QB. So like you said, Gully, you're going the offensive line. You're going the run on offensive lineman. I got the Patriots taking Michael Mayer. I think at 15, the Jets take Dalton Kincaid, the tight end out of Utah. I mean, think about that for A-Rod, right? I mean, AJ would just be happier than a pig, and you know what? Like if they get Dalton Kincaid for A-Rod. And we haven't even talked about A-Rod. AJ, why don't you tell us about number 8 and Manhattan and all the great things? Because we didn't even talk about the trade to lead off the show.
I want winners.
You're looking at the wrong guy. That's the Rangers that happened tonight.
No, I'm a little annoyed that it's taken this long. I was almost expecting like something dramatic to happen.
I thought he was going to San Fran.
Yeah,
I did. I really did.
Yeah, because it was like, okay, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. Like, why is this taking so long?
Yeah.
But I never thought he was going to go to the Titans. But yeah, I mean, I think people in New York are very happy. They want a big star in the Big Apple.
Yeah, they'll be happy till they miss the playoffs.
It's a tough division. I mean, what can you say? Like it's a brutal division. It might be the most brutal in the NFL. So it's an uphill battle. I think he'll probably do well. I don't know. I'm happy for him.
It's going to be interesting to see how Roberts, Saleh and Aaron Rodgers are going to get along, though. That's going to be quite interesting because Robert Saleh is kind of like this is my house, man. This isn't no BS.
I'm with you there. I want to see that.
Yeah.
But hey, it wouldn't be New York Jets football without a little bit of drama, you know?
Yeah.
That's true.
All
right, this thing's gonna blow up, and
it's gonna be a train wreck.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be an absolute train
nightmare
wreck
on Elm Street.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
I hope it's worse than when Favre went there, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So, do we think Rodgers, does he only play one more? Do you think the Jets get him for 2 more, or do you think it's a one and done?
I would say it's a one and done only because Aaron is arrogant enough to think that he could go try it out in New York and then he still has enough gas in the tank to be able to take it somewhere else. Like, I think he knows, like, in the back of his mind, he could probably go play for another franchise even after this, you know? And that might not be true because...
But he has 2 years left on that contract, right? So if he doesn't play for the Jets for, like, isn't part of what they get, like the Jets, the Packers get what, a second round in next year's draft if he plays next year. So like the Jets would have to trade him away, right?
If he plays 65% of the snaps, they get 24 first round. It turns from a second to a first. So
yeah, that's right.
I think that if to keep Aaron, they got to get 10 wins, or they got to make the playoffs. If they don't get 10 wins or make the playoffs, I don't think A-Rod's around. Plus, if it turns out and it's not a good fit and he doesn't look good at all, who's going to want to eat up that contract the next year? I mean, you got a dude pushing 40, you know, with all the extra off the
what
field
is
stuff.
It that last year? Like 30 mil too, you'd have to pay.
I thought they said
last
to
year contract
restructure
value
something to 7, or was it this year's cap hit is 17 million or something because they restructured it to like a. Anyways, should we go on to the Commanders?
Well,
enough about
let's say, like, just real quick, like, scenario here. If he's got let's just actually theoretically, if he can work with the pieces around him, John, if he can do that, okay, if he can overcome some of the issues that you've pointed out.
Right.
Isn't that saying like a tiger can't change his stripes? Something like that?
No, because we're just talking about the last year of the Packers. There have been situations where he's gotten along with his teammates. So, anyways, so theoretically, he gets along with the locker room. Things are good. But are the pieces really there in New York to even get them the division title? Right?
No.
I think the defense is, I think everybody's way blowing out this proportion. I mean, I heard people saying today that now that he's with the Jets, Aaron Rodgers is better than Josh Allen, and I almost wrecked my truck as I heard it on radio.
Aaron Rodgers is okay.
AJ, do not say something so stupid that
at this point in their careers, Josh Allen is a better quarterback.
Yes, but you left him out of the top 10 either last week or the week before.
Yeah, I did.
You were wrong for that.
He was wrong for that.
All right.
You didn't even mention. You didn't even whisper his name.
The stats. Pull the stats. I don't have to listen. And Aaron Rodgers, now that he's in New York, as long as they get to 10 wins, to Gully's point, he's going to play past 2 years because Aaron Rodgers only cares about one thing. He's only ever cared about one thing.
Himself.
Money and attention.
Yeah.
Think of the endorsements and all that in New York and like if he just gets them to the playoffs. I mean, I know everybody's talking Super Bowl, but Jets fans, real Jets fans will tell you the reality. They just want to make the playoffs. They know they can't win a Super Bowl with him. He's not even going to sniff a division title, much less Super Bowl,
aren't they?
Yeah. Right? I don't think they have a path to the playoffs, though.
They just want to make the playoffs. So if he just gets them to the playoffs, he's going to get another 2-year, $100 million plus contract, plus a bunch of endorsements. And that's all he cares about is his self-righteous arrogance to be the number one talked about thing and money. He's not doing it to win. He's not playing the game to win. Are y'all crazy? Because he can't.
You play to win
Because
the
he
game.
can't. He can't win in the playoffs.
He's won a Super Bowl, so
yes,
That's a
you're
long
right.
time ago.
You're absolutely right. He won a Super Bowl with Brett Favre's team and a
Can't say
Clay
he
Matthews AJ Hawk defense with Charles Woodson and a bunch of other future Hall of Famers on there. That's why they won. That's why they won. Since then, garbage.
okay.
But it's all going to come to light, AJ.
All right.
It's all going to come to light.
I don't think there's a path for the
I
Jets
want
to
them
get
on
to the playoffs.
Thursday
though.
night football. I want them to open the season in Arrowhead.
Okay.
Do they play the Chiefs?
Let's play this out.
Oh,
let's play this
look. I
out.
don't know.
All right.
All right. Miami, great team. But let's say all things go the way that you want them to go, John, which is Tua dies from a
Why are y'all
concussion.
putting blood on my hands like
Jesus.
that?
Because you wish the worst
You
on that kid.
don't. I
Poor
like the
thing.
kid. I'm just saying he's one hit away from being Muhammad Ali. Why can't anybody else see that?
Okay. So that happens. So Miami is done because Tua is not
Yeah,
the
they do
quarterback.
play the Jets, but it's it's towards the end of the season, I think.
They haven't
Right.
released the schedule yet. How can you say that?
Well, I know who they're going to play in New York. They're not playing at Arrowhead. They're at the Jets.
Oh, all right.
Okay. New England, meh. Okay. Right. So what do we got left? The Bills, and we got that's it.
Bills.
The Bills. So we've talked about the Bills, right? Like
Yeah, I
the
don't think
Bills
they're
been
any
a
good
little bit Jekyll and Hyde,
Easy
right?
killer.
So what are you talking about, Josh? That there's no path for them to win to get to the playoffs.
The
At
Bills
least
are
get
getting
to
in the playoffs. The Dolphins
They
are
are.
getting in the playoffs. And
But what if something
I'm
happens?
not sure the Jets get past the Patriots. Patriots got a real offensive coordinator now.
Yeah. All right.
Bill Belichick, I've seen him do. Yeah, I wouldn't bet the Jets finish higher than the Patriots at this point. I just
might.
wouldn't.
I might.
I don't want any part of that.
No?
I would bet. I will say I would bet the Jets finish ahead of the Patriots. I'll take that. Now that doesn't mean that they're going to sweep the Patriots because Belichick's going to game at least once, if not twice. But I still think they finish ahead of New England. And look, they could finish second in that division, but that doesn't mean you're getting in the playoffs. Just because you finish second in your division doesn't
Sure.
guarantee that at all.
I don't think there's a chance they finish second. in
You
that
know what I mean?
division.
Like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but I just don't think it's going to go like everybody's making it sound like he's going to take him to the Super Bowl.
He's not going to happen.
And look, I mean, I just think that's hilarious.
No,
Like if,
I'm not
if
saying
Lamar
that.
goes back to Baltimore, there's another team you got to deal with the playoffs.
Okay. So if he
Which
gets
Lamar's going back to Baltimore. It's just a matter of when, he's done with his little Aaron Rodgers parade he's on.
in, right. So if he gets in the wild card and makes it past the first round,
That's a lot of ifs, man. There's
well,
a lot of ifs.
well, no, I'm not saying Super Bowl. I'm just saying, would it be a success be get into the wild card, getting them past the wild card? Like,
I think success would be him not locking himself in a closet again. I think really that is
you
what
guys are
success
so
looks like.
lame. You're so close-minded, right? You don't
I'm just
understand.
saying.
People
What are you drinking?
want to.
Kawasaki tonight?
No, it's
AJ?
ayahuasca. It's ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he
That's how you
doesn't,
say
Probably
it.
got
if he
a
doesn't
little
get
bit of
high on
mushrooms in
ayahuasca
there.
and lock himself in a closet,
There you
That's
go.
a
Mushroom
success.
pizza, Kelly.
yeah.
I think
No,
a
no, no, no.
success would
The
be if
Aaron
they make the
Rodgers-
playoffs.
Aaron Rodgers doing his little mushroom thing all summer. That's why the dude couldn't throw the ball correctly in the beginning of the season. He was still tripped out from all his mushrooms.
Yeah,
See,
maybe.
Gully, you haven't opened
No.
your mind to the possibilities of
Oh,
what
we
is
need to have
out
Gully
there.
on here more
That's
often.
him. That's him. That's him. He opened his mind too much
You
and
know?
he forgot how to throw the ball correctly.
Yeah.
Opened his mind too
See.
much and lost some stuff he wanted to
You
keep in there.
I think a success is the playoffs, AJ, in your
All right.
defense.
Fair enough.
I think that's a success. And listen, I'm not going to be surprised if they make the playoffs. And I'm not going to be surprised if they miss the playoffs because I think they're going to be right. Like they're going to be right there fighting for the last spot. But I'm just not on this train that they're going to win the AFC East and they all of a sudden can even be allowed. Forget like the thought, even to think that they can compete in a playoff game with a Kansas City, a Cincinnati, or a Jacksonville is just laughable to me. Just laughable. In my humble opinion.
No, I was going to say, I mean,
very humble.
I feel like.
And Denver, I think Denver's going to be better with Sean Payton.
They can't be much worse.
They will be. Raiders will be as good, if not better.
Yeah, I mean, they can't get any worse.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Chargers.
Chargers are going to take a step back. You can't put Kellen Moore and you can't put Listen,
I think the Chargers will still be pretty good.
Together over there, I
think they'll still be pretty good.
Staley and Kellen Moore, the two 12-year-olds wannabes. There's no they're taking a step back.
Jacksonville will be.
Yeah, Super Bowl contender. You can go ahead and say it.
I'll tell you what, Jacksonville will be better than the Jets.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But listen, Super Bowl, I don't.
The best guys, I think we're forgetting something here.
Guys.
All right, guys. Other than Brian Flores.
I'm gambling again.
Yeah. Darn right I am, Al. Other than Brian Flores getting picked up by the Vikings, the actual player, the best player move, that the best acquisition in the entire NFL is by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it ain't even close. They're getting back an all-pro receiver in Calvin Ridley. Did we forget that? Did anybody forget that? Because I'll tell you this much.
Didn't.
Calvin Ridley's better than anybody the Chiefs got at wide receiver. Calvin Ridley
the problem with
is a
Ridley
top,
needs to stay healthy.
Shots fired.
Calvin Ridley's a top 5 receiver in this league. If y'all forgot what he looked like.
Listen,
I hope y'all didn't forget. Because like he was putting up the same numbers Jamar Chase and Jefferson was. So you can laugh. I see you two down there at the bottom, AJ and Chop. But when he's catching bombs with all those other weapons, I'm telling y'all think I'm in love with Trevor Lawrence because he's a blonde. I do love blondes, but I only go one way with blondes. Trevor Lawrence with Peterson and that offense and Ridley coming back in that defense, y'all are missing the boat. I'm telling you, y'all are missing the boat. When I said Jacksonville was going to win the division last year at week 4, pull the tape back, y'all laughed at me. You both laughed at me and said I was an idiot.
We did. We did. And not going to happen again.
Pin drop.
Not going to happen again.
Not going to win the division again?
No.
You're high. You're eating mushrooms. Easy, Kawasaki now.
Titans sweep. I'm calling it here. What do you want to bet on it? What is it?
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Whatever I want?
Yeah, whatever
easy,
you want.
Buddy. Pump the brakes.
2-0?
Oh, no.
2-0. I'm going to double down whatever John goes with.
Do we even know who the Titans have at quarter? Who's playing quarterback in Tennessee?
Dude, Ryan Tannehill is still the quarterback. Okay?
All right.
If you're going 2-0? I don't know.
We'll do a quadruple unit on this. You got a double unit from me and John right now.
Double unit. Big Jeff is still freaking gonna go in there and just.
I feel like I want to get in on this one. There's no way they go 2-0.
Oh, I'm confident. Like they hate. Like we hate the Jags. Like that was unacceptable.
Are you suiting up for them too?
Yeah, man.
They may need you to suit up.
You run out of the tunnel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it's
listen,
for sure.
Here I got the bet.
We've done it before.
I got the bet. It's not gonna cost any money, right? So when the Titans actually get swept 0-2 this year, you're gonna have to wear a Jacksonville Jaguar jersey dress.
Jersey.
No, the dress one though. Have you seen those jersey dresses?
Yo, the dress for the girls? Yes.
AJ, walk away. Walk
the
away.
Jersey dress.
Do it, AJ.
Okay. I mean,
And
I
if they
could
sweep,
do that.
I'll come on here and I'll wear the Titans jersey dress.
Dear God, no! This is getting out of hand.
That's what I'm. That's what I'm
is
saying.
not
like,
good.
like, what do I
This is
get?
bad.
What do I get if I?
I'll wear the jersey dress.
You do
We're all
yours.
dressed up and everything.
You put your bet on the side. Doesn't have to be the same thing. Could be something different.
Okay, so Gully, if you win that bet, I'll do that. Wear the dress.
Yes,
John.
Victory.
John, if I win, you do that.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right, that's easy. That's easy enough, I think. Right?
Go ahead. I want you to type it up before my next statement.
And if
Oh no!
what if 1-1 doesn't happen, if 1-1 happens,
You lose the bet.
I guess
Then
what
it's
is-
a push. Nobody gets paid. Oh,
push.
no. Yeah,
No.
you lose the bet. You say it's a sweep.
You said a sweep.
Yeah.
I did say a sweep.
AJ, why would
Did
you
say
do
sweep.
that?
I'm thinking
Think about
this.
it. Yeah, don't lock it in yet.
All right.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not
don't make
backing
a bad
down.
decision.
I'm not
Don't
backing
commit.
down. I
It
just want to
sounds
figure
like
out
you're
what the
not
bet
backing
is.
down. It sounds like you jumped down, is what it sounds like.
No, I want to figure out what the bet exactly is, and we need to move on with the show. So let's move on to the next
Yeah.
pick.
Well, John's been stalling
where we
because
at?
it's his team is up. John's been stalling because his team is up.
Yeah, look, the Commanders here at 16, I trust them to do nothing responsible or nothing right. And I
Once
trust
the
them.
new owners take over, is Snyder's crew
soon.
getting this?
It's not going to be before Thursday, so I know Snyder and this crew will ruin it. They're going to take Will Levis and destroy my life and rip my soul out in front of me. I can see it happening.
I have him doing something
if he's good?
responsible.
Gully, if they do something responsible, I might put on that dress for AJ regardless.
I think they take Joey Porter Jr. The
Corner out of Penn State, I like that.
Yeah. I think that it feels
That'd be
a good
a
hold
big.
for
I mean,
them.
that'd be a great pickup for them.
Yeah, I think that. I mean,
Well,
that's what
that
I would
le-
do. But
What are they going to do for quarterback? I mean, come on.
This
So-
Sam
so
Howell.
here-
Go with
here's
Sam
that
Howell.
Here's that situation where it's really
Where I'd love
dependent.
to have Ryan Tannehill. Yeah, this is that situation.
Do you-
I'm
but do you
staring-
think-
right?
I'm
do you-
looking down the gun barrel at Sam Howell, for God's
Do
sake.
you think? No, we talked about later in this draft. Do we think a Max Duggan or a Jake Hayner
No,
or
no,
a
no,
Hendon
no.
Hooker are good options for Washington?
Maybe
No,
Hendon.
they-
I think.
No.
I mean, of course, I think Hendon. But yes,
You wouldn't take Duggan?
no.
Pair him with Bieniemy?
No.
Man, I
Duggan.
would.
So Duggan's super tough. My thought about Duggan, super tough. I just don't know if he has all of their tools there. I mean,
Got a good arm.
Yeah, but
Good arm, good leader.
Hendon's got a better arm.
Amen.
Yeah, but
Hooker-
between the
Hooker
two,
does.
I think I'd take Duggan.
Well,
I
you
think
got-
I would take Max Duggan.
Why? I mean, you got Hooker's like a bigger, more physical, specimen. He's older. He's more matured. He's got a better arm. He's worked in a better system that is more passing. Whereas TCU is very much like kind of that read pass option kind of. I don't know. That's
I'm
my
with
thought there.
AJ. If Washington does take a quarterback, I'd love to be Hooker. But if Levis is sitting there, I can tell you right now, I'm going to get screwed.
They would probably take him. Yeah, that's
They're
probably
going to
true.
take Levis. I know.
Outlier in this. Does Stetson Bennett get picked in this draft?
Yeah, whenever they get to the round where they're serving six packs, he'll be right up.
I just
All
saw
right,
him
so-
pop up on the draft thing, so I was like, I wonder if old Stetson's gonna get.
Yeah, we
All
forgot
right,
about
with-
this guy, right? He won this
I
national
forgot all about him.
You haven't saw him at the bar pounding him back? Him and old Baker?
I mean, he is a grown man, so I'm sure he's at the bar pounding. But was he
Well,
like
he's
26,
31,
27?
whatever.
Yep.
So, look, 17th pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to follow you, Gully, with your last pick.
all right.
But the
Go
Pittsburgh
ahead.
Steelers, they had one Joey Porter. Might as well have another. Keep it in state.
Mm.
Joey Porter Jr., corner of Penn State, going to Pittsburgh. Fits in perfect with Mike Tomlin in the game up there.
I agree. I like that as well. But I think they're going to go help protect Pickett a little bit, and they're going to take Darrell Wright, the offensive tackle from Tennessee.
Offensive line. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they need some help on the offensive line. I mean, Najee Harris was pretty much non-existent last year. So I think they got to get something rolling down there, get the run game going, get Pickett. I think Pickett's going to be pretty solid here.
I think he's serviceable.
They got to protect him. Yeah,
he's got small hands.
Start that shit.
My name's Pickett, and
I only bring that up because Gully doesn't know the history of which we talk about small hands Kenny Pickett.
No, I'm sure he's listened to the episodes. The whole world has at this point.
What's
John
wrong?
talking about his pump and what he does on the weekends. Nobody needs to know about
pump
that.
those hands up. You got to make them bigger. AJ, we could have a little theme music for 18. The Detroit Lions at 18, they're destined for the NFC Championship game. They had Jalen Carter fall to them at 6. All these people, interior linemen, quarterbacks, these tight ends, that these top 2, everybody wanted to get. And it just so happens that at 18, wide receiver Ohio State and Jigba falls to the Lions. If the Lions come out of this with Carter and Jigba, sign me up, baby. Get Barry Sanders back. Here we go.
Jigba.
I like it. Yeah, I got them taking Elijah Caney out of Pittsburgh, the defensive tackle, and now they're going to have
he's a beast.
2 really good rookie. Yeah, they're going to have the interior and then they're going to have the outside. I think Dan Campbell's really going to focus on getting that defense. I think there's a way too that they could get Bijan somehow, some way in this draft too. They didn't pay Jamal Williams; they didn't want him back, and DeAndre Swift, he's always been hurt, so they could get that too at another offensive weapon. But yeah, I think they really need help on that defensive front. I mean, you take it, Aiden Hutchinson, Jalen Carter, and now this buddy from Pitt. I think you got a pretty solid interior defensive line right there.
If there's a player that hasn't, shifted as far as Jackson Smith and Jigba in the draft, we're talking about somebody who could go as high as in the low teens all the way down to the bottom of the first, round. Like, this guy has got all the tools. Obviously, we know his abilities, and we know the abilities of wide receivers that have come out of Ohio State. Like, this guy he can go anywhere. Like, it's crazy. He's kind of all over the place. And so for the one wide receiver that's clearly the top of the class, it's interesting you take it at that pick.
Yeah, he's minus 450 to be the first wide receiver off the board. But again, if he is there and Detroit gets him with everything else they got going on, and I think it's even more important, Detroit has to look wide receiver with Jamison Williams being out the first 6 games now with the whole gambling thing.
Yeah.
If they could get him, man, that would be really super. Because then Williams is going to come back, right? And you already got Reynolds. You already got some other good pieces, St. Brown. Man, that would be a good pickup for the Lions, I think.
100%.
I didn't see the whole gambling thing. What was that?
They gambled on so you're allowed to gamble on other sports. They gambled on college football, but they did it in the facility. So you can gamble, but you can't gamble in an NFL facility. So instead of waiting until they got home, they did in the locker room. Now, why these NFL teams aren't like most corporate America businesses that block websites you can go on and just make it foolproof, God only knows.
Why? I don't understand why it matters.
Well, and I see why it does matter, because it can go down a dark road. Look, I don't believe anything has been rigged since the 80s. I mean, I'm deep into this gambling thing. I have been for 19 years. But I'll tell you one thing. When I see the NBA officiating as I have,
it's been so bad.
Even a guy like me, your mind kind of starts to go, is there a little Donahue there? Or is it like your mind just goes there? It's human nature. Yeah. So you can't have any of this stuff happening. So I get it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of money changing hands, man. I mean, this is a $123 billion business, and we don't even have half the states legalized yet.
John, you obviously followed the whole Donahue thing. Did you listen to the whole podcast? Was it ESPN or can't remember.
No, I did not.
You like that was crazy. I mean, while there's no concrete evidence, like
Yeah.
the fact that these refs, controlled the game. This wasn't in the 80s. Like this was in the 2000s, right? Like early 2000s, late 90s. This was all going down.
And the other thing is that is the easiest game to control, which is fine because I hate betting the NBA anyway, unless it's the playoffs. Football and baseball, there's just no way to determine the outcome that way, right? I mean, you would see it. It would be like, I know everybody goes back to like that whole Rams Saints play.
Yeah.
Look, that was one play, and there was a whole lot of things that happened before that and overtime that happened after that, right? It was just a bad call. Bad calls happen. But in basketball, there's, point shaving like was Boston College back in the 80s, then the Donahue. So I get it. You just, again, when you go in every NFL locker room, that's the first big sign on the team rules is about gambling now. Every team has to have it since they legalized it and the NFL got into bed with MGM, DraftKings, all them. So the players know, like, dude, wait 15 minutes till you get to your house and put your bet in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have any sympathy for them.
And boxing too, right? So it was like NBA. Before that was like boxing, where it was like
boxing. Yes, very heavy in the 70s and 80s. Early 90s was really bad too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, moving on to the next pick.
Number 19. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I got him taking a linebacker. Obviously, White wants out, so I got him taking Trenton Simpson, linebacker out of Clemson. Love what he brings to the table, his speed, his physicality. I think he would be a good replacement there for the Bucks in the middle.
I honestly think that they trade out of this spot, but since we're not doing any trades, I think they're going to take Nolan Smith, the edge rusher from Georgia here.
Nice.
Get them some help on the defensive line, but I honestly I think that they're gonna exit out of this spot here.
Yeah, I can see them trading out. I can also see if Will Levis is there, them taking Levis. Right? Because, come on, I don't want to hear Kyle Trask as an NFL quarterback either. Say, spare me. So. All right. With the 20th pick, the Seattle Seahawks. Now, look, I already got him taking the edge out of Georgia. Your guy, I am taking him with the 5th pick. Now they need some help offensively for Geno and for Metcalf. Lockett's getting a little old in the, getting a little long in the tooth, right? Lockett's been around a while. So I got him taking wide receiver out of USC, Jordan Addison. I think that's a great pick for Seattle.
Wow. All right. Yeah.
I got them staying on the defensive line. I already had them taking Jalen Carter on the interior. Now I'm going to have them take Miles Murphy from Clemson and give him the little edge rush.
Very
Give
nice.
Carroll some more defensive.
Good Lord.
That's a great trade. Look, if you get out with Murphy and Jalen Carter, a Georgia and a Clemson kid, you had a great night.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I like Seattle.
Number 21, the LA Chargers. I got them taking linebacker Drew Sanders out of Arkansas. I think Sanders is actually the best linebacker in the draft. He's picked minus 120 to be the first linebacker off the board. I know in my mock I got Trenton Simpson, but I think Drew Sanders minus 120 to be the first linebacker off the board is great value. I just love everything he brings to the table, his speed, his length. I think he has a higher ceiling, right? Again, I think Simpson's more of a plug and play. I think, though, with Sanders, that's a guy that you can really shape into a true middle linebacker that is a Sam Mills, rest in peace, Sam Mills type, Luke Kuechly type linebacker that just creates havoc for a decade.
Well, I think the Chargers keep Herbert happy, and they're going to select Quentin Johnson, the wide receiver out of TCU, give him a big, deep threat. I just, You know,
Be a
I like
big
Mike
pickup.
Williams a lot there. Yeah, I like Mike Williams a lot, but he cannot. I mean, that dude can only play 1 or 2 games at a time. Then he has to sit out 6 weeks. So I think they need to give Herbert some help.
Yeah, same with
and,
Keenan Allen.
Keenan
He's
Allen's
always on
only
the
getting
shelf,
older.
too.
Yeah, he's getting older, right? So they got to
Yep.
give him another target. I mean, even though otherwise we're going to have Aaron Rodgers saga all over again there, that he keeps on saying he has nobody to throw the ball to, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
this is where
100%.
a Jackson Smith and Jigba, pick would be great. I mean, just given, you've already, Gully, I think you've already got him a little higher in the, in the pick, but, that would be a perfect mixture for those two, 100%.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Yeah.
All right, 20.
Sorry, the pick's in. Boy,
Number
we got everything
22,
going.
Baltimore Ravens. No, I like it here. They went out and they got OBJ. Lamar says, get me OBJ and D-Hop and we'll talk. I don't think D-Hop's happening, but I do think they appease him here and take wide receiver out of Boston College, Zay Flowers.
Zay
He's been
Flowers.
Yeah, a lot of people, all of a sudden he's crept up. A lot of people think he's going to be the first wide receiver. I would take a flyer on him, plus 650 to be the first receiver off the board. Look, and Jigba's the man, but, I've seen a couple mocks with Zay Flowers. Plus 650 is great value, right? But look, I think Zay Flowers would be a perfect landing spot here in Baltimore.
There you go.
Yeah, I have
John's
Baltimore
betting corner.
going. Yeah, I have Baltimore going with what makes Baltimore great, and that's defense. And I have them taking Lucas Van Ness, the defensive lineman out of Iowa. Kind of just a
Very nice.
pin your ears back kind of guy out of Iowa. Fits that scheme well over there in Baltimore.
Very nice. Number 23, the Minnesota Vikings. Gully, I'll let you do the honors since it's your team. You can go first on this one.
Well, this is where I got Jordan Edison going. And I know we need so much
Edison
help.
and Jefferson together. I like it.
Yeah, I know. I understand that we need so much help on defense, but we got to replace Adam Thielen. I like Osborne. I just don't think he's the number 2 guy. I think he's still good number 3. But I like Addison. Got to keep the guys off of Jefferson, and I think we go offense. And unfortunately, I think our defense is still going to be terrible. So.
I think it'll be
I like
better.
it.
I think the defense will be much better. I think Addison for the Vikings, though, you pair him on the other side of Jeff, that's a huge pickup for Minnesota. I think Addison's going to be very, very good.
Yep. Yeah. Addison,
I
Jefferson, Hawkinson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah, if
All
you
the
can,
sons.
Yeah, if you can have Jefferson, Addison with TJ Hawkinson, that's just man, that's good stuff.
I do think that
Yeah,
we're going to move Dalvin Cook
What's that?
in this draft. I think we're going to move Dalvin Cook in this draft.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
Wow.
That's
I'm not high. You know what? I'm not high on Dalvin Cook anymore. He's got a lot of fumble problems, but watching him, he doesn't have that burst anymore, that which made him good.
Wow.
He doesn't have that breakaway speed like he did last year or the year before. Yeah, he doesn't have that extra oomph,
Okay.
So how about this? If you're Minnesota, Dalvin Cook and the number 23 pick for Philly's number 10 and number 30. You doing that if you're Philly?
He's not worth that. I don't think.
If you want to win a Super Bowl now, I don't know what his contract looks like and how much the cap room is going to hit, but
He hasn't had the big payday yet. He's got another year.
So John, say that again. So
Dalvin Cook and the number 23 pick go to Philly for the number 10 and the number 30.
I would like it, but also we hate Philly here in Minnesota. You got to remember when we played them in the playoffs, they were throwing beer cans at us. They were doing everything.
That's not just you, buddy. That's
No,
everybody.
I know, but-
Night down in Philly.
Yeah,
They throw that at
casual
their own
Sunday.
fans. What are you
They
talking
throw
about?
hands at you when you're going on the turnpike. What are you talking about driving?
the Minneapolis
Yeah,
Miracle
they really need
just
to change
happened.
that
We're
whole
coming
city
back
of
to
brotherly
Philly.
love thing. I don't think that's
Yeah, the miracle happens. We go back to Philly. We come down. We score with ease the first drive. With ease. I'm like, this is our year. The Super Bowl's in Minnesota. And then they just 45-7 or something like that. 44-7.
it wasn't good.
So I wouldn't like
Very
seeing
good.
any of our players going there, but I would like to have the 10th pick. I don't know who we would take that high, but
Well, I think they would end up probably doing something stupid like quarterback. Look, I know Deontay Banks is a corner everybody loves out of Maryland, but I'm a big prototype guy, and I'm a big school guy. And I think for Minnesota, if they stay at the 23rd pick, cornerback out of Georgia, Kelly Ringo. I've watched this guy play the past couple of years. Physical, he's always around the ball. I think he would be great for Brian Flores to get him a good corner.
I like it.
Number 24 pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars, AJ. Look, they got enough help on Calvin Ridley, the biggest acquisition in the offseason for any team, and that's on offense. So Jags go defense here. Safety out of Alabama, Brian Branch. Love this kid. He's a 10, 12-year starter. He's an all-pro in the making. Brian Branch, he's still got room to grow, even though he's plug and play. There's a lot of things, very high ceiling with his game, a ball hawk, very physical, puts me a little bit in the mind of a LaRon Landry back in the day for the Redskins. I like Brian Branch here to the Jags with the 24th pick.
Yeah, I know they need help on defense, but I also think that they need give Trevor some time back there to throw to those guys. So I think they're going to go offensive tackle here. They're going to do Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma.
Okay, very nice.
Get a little bit of help.
All right. Number 25 pick. The New York Football Giants select wide receiver out of Tennessee, Jalen Hyatt. Look, if you're going to give Danny Dimes a bag of dimes, you got to give him somebody to throw the ball to.
Goodness.
Yeah, he needs a deep threat. I actually have the same exact pick. So
What?
Look at that. It's sold, folks. Go get your Jalen Hyatt jerseys.
This is cause for a celebration.
Now, look, here's the other question to all three of you. Does Barkley get traded Thursday night?
Barkley?
Look, Barkley, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook. I mean, you got some people here that, could be moving and shaking.
how high do you think he could go? I mean, you got the Lions up there. You got the Seahawks. They both have two first round picks. So they could get right around at 5 and 6.
Well, the Giants can't trade him to Philly. Gosh, that would be brutal.
Mm.
No, Seattle, Detroit.
Oh, yeah. Well, Detroit would be a nice place for Barkley.
I would.
If I'm either one of them, I'd do it.
I'm buying it. I'll have a Detroit jersey ready. I might have to flip teams if that happened,
Oh, they're going to run Gully out of Minnesota. AJ, you think they get rid of Barkley on draft night? Do the Titans get rid of Henry? See, you're one of those guys getting moved this week.
No, I talked about it earlier. I don't think we do a big blockbuster trade thing like we did last year with AJ Brown. Rand Carthon, new GM. I just think he's a little more cautious than that coming into this. Like, he doesn't want to make any big splashes. He's obviously new to the job, so like he doesn't want to do anything crazy. But what I do think is interesting is, this whole like element of, I don't know, like, to your point about Barkley, and then to, the point about Hyatt, it's like, there are elements of this draft where you could see yourself going much higher than what has been mocked or like whatever. But again, it's all about these guys that it's all
about what your board looks like, right?
Yeah, what your board looks
like. Choppy.
100%. And what your board looks like, and like these guys that you've queued in on, and how far are they falling, and like what are you willing to give up for them, and like, so that's how I feel about it. So, like Bijan is someone that I think is super interesting. Hyatt is someone that I think is super interesting, not just because he's a volunteer. Hendon, of course, the hooker, the cooker, as you call him, John. I think what's our boy Jalen? Like what happens with Jalen? That's going to be huge going into this whole thing. Like there's so many variables. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Zay Flowers. These are all guys, like, depending on where they land, like, we're going to see a lot of movement. We're going to see a ton of movement, I think, depending on what happens with this draft.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Chop, what do you think? You think Barkley goes?
I think I could see Barkley moving on draft night. Honestly, I think I'd be more surprised if he didn't get moved on draft night. I don't think he stays in New York. And I could see Henry getting moved as well.
Not on
I'm
draft
probably less on Henry getting moved on draft weekend, but I could definitely see Saquon getting moved. I do not think he stays a Giant.
I don't think Saquon does either. I just I don't know.
Out of the two, I would go Saquon over Henry.
Well,
for sure.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Someone's going to get moved. There's going to be a big move where someone gets offloaded from a team. Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
I have this inkling with this draft in the first round, and we could be wrong and it could be boring. John talked about, I think there's going to be a lot of movement.
Well, I would say last year was a lot of movement. And I'm not just saying that because we let the Titans move to AJ Brown, but like, man, we had, I want to say like 6 or 7 big moves all around the first round that happened. Yeah. Big trades, not players for picks, but like picks among picks. Like there was a lot of movement. And so I don't know if we're going to see that again. Like this might be the draft where it's like super chill and just super vanilla, like we've talked about.
Yeah. I don't know. I just have a feeling it's going to be a lot of fireworks in
Barkley
round
to
one.
Buffalo.
Oh my God.
Good Lord.
Oh,
I think, look, if I'm Buffalo, say, hey, Johns, I got the 27th pick here.
No.
So anyway, with the 26th pick, the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm going to combine 26 and 27 kind of based off of whoever the Cowboys take, because I could have them taking Jamar Gibbs here, or I have them taking tight end Dalton Kincaid.
Yep.
And I feel like if the Cowboys don't take Jamar Gibbs, then the Bills are going to take Jamar Gibbs. Now, the Bills have been lacking run game for the last few years. They haven't had a solid running back. And I think
they just make Josh Allen do it.
Yeah, exactly. They take pressure off Josh Allen. They keep him a little more healthy. He's not banged up. I could also see the Bills taking a receiver there, but I think if Jamar Gibbs is still there on the board, that they're gonna take him. So, but that's dependent on the Cowboys. I think Cowboys need to give Dak some help and get him a little security blanket with Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas would love it if Kincaid. Yeah, Dallas would love it if Kincaid fell there. I got the Cowboys taken to go on the other side of Lamb. I think he's better. He should be picked before this, but he keeps falling. I think the Cowboys take wide receiver Quentin Johnson out of TCU. I think putting him on the other side of CeeDee Lamb, again, I'm with you. They need weapons for Dak. And at 27, I got the Bills taking the guard Osiris Torrance out of Florida. Look, we talk about running back help, but whether it's running back or protecting Allen, that offensive line's been atrocious for Buffalo. Just atrocious. I would rather take an offensive lineman there for Buffalo at 27 and trade a 3rd and 4th round pick to get Barkley and just plug and play, or Dalvin Cook, something like that. I think that makes more sense. Hey, Cardinals up 4-2, so we got a shot at going 3-2. All I need is a winning night to get back on the horse.
There we go.
Doesn't make up for last night, but remember this, gambling 101. Any day, doesn't matter if it's a penny, any day you go to bed with more money than you woke up with that morning, it was a great day.
It's true. You mentioned Quentin Johnston. This is a player I could see the Chiefs moving up to grab. He's been in on a visit. I could see the Chiefs kind of moving, if he's still there, moving up to snag him.
That would be a great pick for the Chiefs.
It would be. Yep.
All right, number 28, the Cincinnati Bengals, AJ.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry, but my little buttons and my sounds aren't working. So
that's all right. We can just
continue on with that. But
the number 28th pick, the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm taking the tackle Cody Mock out of North Dakota State. Again, look, you got Joe Burrow. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's going to win 2 or 3 rings before he's done, but not if you can't keep him upright. And Cincinnati has tried everything to keep him upright. They have got to take a lineman here. I've heard running backs, because of the mixing thing or what. Look, you can find a running back anywhere. All right. If they need to, I'll suit up and play running back. But you need a tackle. You need offensive line. You've got to protect Joe Burrow. You've got to protect him. Right. Yep. You cannot let him take a beating. Because without Joe Burrow, you have no franchise.
I mean, look at him in the playoffs last year, and we watched him the year before. He just got mauled, man. He just got absolutely mauled. They have to find a way to protect him. That's their franchise.
Yeah, and look at it. You got that young Jets defense, the young Chiefs defense. Mm-hmm. You still got those pass rushers, Bosa and Mack with the Chargers, right? Pittsburgh's always going to be great on D. Baltimore's always going to be great on D.
Yep.
You got, Myles Garrett in Cleveland. You got to protect him. All right. So I like Mock here, the tackle out of North Dakota State. Gully, what says you?
Yeah, no, I think they kind of knock 2 birds with 1 stone here, and they take Darnell Washington, the tight end. And the reason why I think they take him is because his blocking ability. His blocking ability, along with his receiving ability. I mean, that dude's a monster. I mean, the only thing I think he's kind of slept on a little bit too is because he was the number 2 tight end in that Georgia offense. So I like him there.
He's a big man.
Yeah, I mean, because Hurst is gone, right? Hayden Hurst left.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that, they can kind of line him up and they can kind of keep him there if they need to. If somebody's really beating their tackle off the line, that they can bring him in to help out and he can fill in that void.
100%. The 29th pick, the New Orleans Saints. I got him taking defensive end Miles Murphy to put on from Clemson, put on the other side of Cam Jordan. For them to get Murphy this late, I think that's great value, and I think it'd be a great pick for the Saints.
Yeah, I have him staying with the same school, but I have him taking Brian Bessie, the defensive tackle out of Clemson.
Defensive tackle. All right.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So we're on the same wavelength there that they need to take a defensive lineman.
We have been. That's because we know what we're talking about, Gully.
Sometimes we do,
guys.
right?
We know what we're doing. All right, with the 30th pick, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, look, I've heard all the Bijan Robinson at 10. I just don't see that. I think Philly needs help too many other places. But I think Philly gets their running back here. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama. They don't have to waste that 10th pick. They get their tackle at 10.
Great choice.
You come back and get your running back Gibbs. And look, Philly's right back in the NFC Championship game against the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, and his ability to be able to catch passes out of the backfield
absolutely
is really good as well. So John, I like that a lot, but I have him taking a corner, Brooks out of Maryland, to help out.
Yep.
Get a little bit of help on the defense,
Brooks.
a little bit. Yep, Deontay Brooks out of Maryland. But after what you just said that, yeah, Banks. Sorry, my handwriting stinks. After you bring that up, I do think, Gibbs that late is kind of a steal for them.
Yeah. Yeah, if they can get that tackle, and if they come out with Paris Johnson, the tackle out of Ohio State, and then come back with Gibbs, the running back out of Bama, I just think that's a great draft for them. We'll round it out with number 31, the 31st pick, the Kansas City Chiefs. Chop.
They won't be picking at 31.
With who's left? Who would you like to see if they don't trade out of the pick?
Man, I really think they trade out of this pick. I think they're either going to snag one of the tight ends, Kincaid or Mayer, or I think they're going to go after Quentin Johnston. Like I said, they've had him in on a visit. Seems they really like the kid. Pair of big body receiver. That's really what they need. I would be shocked if they end up picking at 31. This draft is in Kansas City. They're going to want to make a splash. I think they trade up.
Well, look, I think Kansas City wraps back around in the second round and gets their tight end. All right. Like I said, Laporta, Iowa, Musgrave, Oregon State, Kraft House, South Dakota State. And I think the Chiefs continue to build what they know is important, right? And what is important is the defense, right? Mm-hmm. They've keep adding to it. You can keep adding to it here. Defensive tackle, Kalijah Kancey out of Pittsburgh. I think he's a day one starter. You put him in there with Chris Jones. You already got Karliftis out of Purdue last year. And look, he's I don't have him off the board yet. A lot of people have him going 10th. I don't have him that high. But you could also make Luke Van Ness the defensive end out of Iowa. So either I think they go defensive line here. Again, Kansas City gets it. Pat Mahomes is great. Probably going to go down as a top 5 to top 10 quarterback somewhere in there, right? Mm-hmm. But you can't ask him to do it all. You still got to slow down some of these other quarterbacks. You got a great defensive coordinator in Spags. You're building this young defense, and I think they continue to build and go defense here. So I'm going to roll with Kancey, the defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh, a day one starter.
It's scary to think, like, their defense, the way they played, especially in the back half last year, so young, and they played so well. Like, there's a ton of potential in this defense. If they could add a big name defensive player in the first round, like, that defense is going to start to get scary good the more they play together.
Yeah, and I know you're not excited about if they stay at 31st, but look, if they get Kancey, the defensive tackle there, I mean, ain't nothing to sniff your nose about. Yeah, it's not the sexy wide receiver or tight end, right?
Yep.
But, like, look, you still got Mahomes and Kelsey. You can figure it out.
Yeah, and they're both going to be there for Kelsey. I don't think's going anywhere for a while.
But look, how crazy is it? Doesn't it drive you nuts if you lose 42-45?
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean? So you got to stop the other team, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think
I wouldn't be heartbroken if they get some good defense. If they get a pass rusher, wouldn't break my heart. I think they're definitely going to be looking to add to the wide receiver and tight end position in this draft. But Veach, I trust the guy completely. I don't think he gets enough credit as a GM in the league. I think he's very, very smart. He does a lot with late round picks. I mean, look at the picks they've had over the last few years. Late round, he finds value. They have 11 picks in this draft. They got a whole bunch of them. So I expect the Chiefs to only get better. He has proven that he can pick players and pick them well. So I expect the Chiefs to have a great weekend.
Cool. All right, who you got to sum it up, Gully, here at the 31st pick?
Well, I still got Zay Flowers on the board available. So that's why I got them taken down here way at the bottom to give him another weapon because he does need one.
That's not bad.
That pick.
So.
I like that pick.
It's not bad.
Give Mahomes another weapon. I'll take it.
Well,
give him another toy to play with.
That's it, guys. A little quick round robin. We'll hop off here. Josh, tell me your outlook on the draft. Give me a crazy prediction and just your thoughts as we go into Thursday here.
I think it's going to be a really good draft. Like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of moving and shaking in round one. I'll say, and I kind of said this earlier, I think Bryce Young deserves to be the number one pick in this draft. I will not be surprised if they do something stupid and he's not the first pick. He should be, but it won't surprise me if he's not. And I said this, I think, a couple episodes ago. I think the quarterback that's going to have the most success out of this draft class will not be taken in round one. I just think there's a lot of good value later on in this draft. And I think one of these guys picked in round 2 or round 3, when it's all said and done, is going to be better than any of the guys taken in round 1. That's not a knock on any of those. I think Bryce Young has the potential to be a great quarterback in the league. But if I had to put my money on it, I would lean towards one of these guys in the second or third round.
All right. Gully, well, give me your closing thoughts here on the draft as we go into Thursday.
Well, I can only really, I follow my team the closest. I think that we're going to trade out of the first round, and we possibly might go get that linebacker out of Iowa early in the second. Kind of give us another draft pick, because we only have, I think, 5 draft picks on the year. So I think the Vikings trade back, go try to find a replacement for Kendricks and get the linebacker out of Iowa. But I do think that below Stroud and below Bryce Young, that these next 3 quarterbacks that they're talking about, 2 for sure, Richardson and Will, I think they've been trying to push them a little too much, and I think they're trying to make them seem a lot better than they are. And that I've seen when I watched them play last year, I think Hendon Hooker is better than all of them, or those 2, and I think he's the number 3 rated quarterback out of the draft class. But obviously that, what was it, ACL? So he has to prove that he's healthy, and if he can move around and be more mobile, I think he could actually maybe jump ahead of those 2 guys. But he also scored, a 43 on that test? So,
yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right, AJ, what do you got?
Yeah. Look, I'm always excited about the draft. I mean, what can I say? Like, it's so fun. And I'm excited to sit down on Thursday and text back and forth with you guys and watch together as much as we can be in sync. But when it comes to the quarterbacks in this, I subscribe to the thinking that I think 1 out of the 4 of our top quarterbacks here, and we're talking about Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and Will Levis. I think 1 out of the 4 of them, and maybe 2 out of the 4 of them at the most, are going to have a successful career. So that just goes to show how important it is to know that it is really, really, really tough to pick a franchise quarterback in the first round. And to Josh's point earlier, those late rounds, as we've seen, are really when you get your value. And in some cases, Super Bowl winning and Hall of Fame quarterbacks, right? So, so we have to go into this with like really, really cautious tones. Like, we have to go into this like with the ability to understand that this is not a make or break situation, right? And these teams know this, and these GMs know this going in. They have to make a decision that's right to fill the holes that they have. And I think they all obviously are going to do that. Are we going to see a bunch of big blockbuster trades? I don't think we're going to see that as much this year. I don't think we're going to see active roster players being traded away for picks like we saw last year, or in years prior. So yeah, but I'm still excited, and I think we're going to see a lot of teams fill a lot of holes that really matter. It might not be that exciting to the layman, but to the football fan, it's going to be very exciting, because we all know kind of what, like what we all need. So yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited about it.
Well, I know throughout this I've given a couple gambling tips, but just a couple fun things. Again, there's not a lot, the draft isn't like it's been in years past. They've pulled back on a lot of these numbers, but some things I like. Number of quarterbacks to be drafted in round 1, over under 4.5, the unders plus 140. I just can't see 5 quarterbacks. I think you can get, I think guys are going to fall. I think if a 5th guy gets drafted, that's just a stretch. Because there's some good defensive players. So under 4.5 plus 140, I like that. I like total number of wide receivers over 3.5. That's minus 105. So basically even money. I think you get to 4 receivers there, right? I like that. And then, man, I love running backs drafted in the first round, over under 1.5. The over minus 130. Got to lay a little bit there, but we already know Bijan's probably going to go in the top 10, 12 picks. And I think Gibbs gets there somewhere in that first round, that bottom, Buffalo, Cincinnati, where I got him going at Philly. He's not getting past Philly if Philly keeps the 30th pick. I can tell you that. So I think over 1.5 minus 130 is a good play there. And then first defensive player to be drafted, Will Anderson, even money. Jalen Carter plus 2,000, hey, give it a shot. See what happens. So just a couple things there that I like personally. And then again, Zay Flowers, plus 650, Jordan Addison plus 950 to be the first receiver off the board, and Jigba's minus 400. So you can't do that. But hey, I've saw a lot of mock drafts where Flowers and Addison have been ahead of him. So hey, at plus 650 and plus 950. And again, it's the draft, folks. If I was going to bet heavy on anything, I would bet the first three I gave you. Under 4.5 quarterbacks, over 1.5 running backs, over 3.5 receivers. All these other things just put you a little bit of McDonald's money on it, right? $5, $10. If you're $1,000 better, okay, maybe you put, $50 on it, right? Just a little something extra. But, don't go crazy. It's just the draft. I think you're going to have more luck if you just pick a bunch of oddball stuff, because I am with you guys. I think it's going to be wild and crazy, but I'm not going to be surprised if it's very vanilla the first 10 picks. Yeah. So,
and I think my last thing is I think Sean Payton slides his way back into this draft somehow too in the first round. He climbs back in there.
Good call. Very good take. I like that. One last thing, as far as John's Gambling Corner, we're doing the newsletter, and I'm going to do some short videos this week. I wanted to start those. There won't be a newsletter Wednesday morning because of us recording, but I'll be back on those. But I did want to go ahead and congratulate our Final Four from the tournament. So first place will get the trophy, the BCCS tumbler, shirt, and hat. Second place, tumbler, shirt, and hat. And then third and fourth will get just a shirt and a tumbler, right? So the winner of the very first ever March Madness Challenge is our boy Miles McGaskill. Now, how you pick Marquette to win the whole thing and you finish first, I have no ungodly idea.
It was a tournament.
But hey, he goes first. Michael Burdett, he will finish second. My buddy Todd Graves, you'll have a shirt and tumbler coming to you. And there's actually a tie for fourth, so we'll have 5 winners. Devin K and Danny B. Danny Buns in the Ovens. He'll be the other one there that'll get a shirt and a tumbler. So I'll get with you guys, get your address and all, get all that stuff shipped out to you. And Chop will have the trophy, Miles. And hey, we already promised Miles that we were going to go see a game in Miami.
We might just bring him the trophy. Then.
You just need to bring him the trophy.
Yeah,
so don't be a chump about that, Choppy.
Well, no, I'll bring it to him. I need to get it made, and then I'll bring it to him.
Right, well, there you go. We at least need to present it on the show so he can see it.
Yeah, we'll do that for sure.
You know what I mean? Because we're not getting down there till like September.
Once I have, the committee.
South Beach is going to be fantastic.
No, it's not going to be fantastic.
AJ, will the wife?
It
let
could
you
be
go to
the
South
end
Beach?
of us.
What?
Will the wife let you go to South Beach with John?
She shouldn't.
Without
why
her,
you gotta think about that? Why is there a thought? Why are you?
I'll be taking my wife with me.
She would let me go, but she'd be like, "Why can't I go?"
She can. I'll be taking my wife for sure.
Yeah, she's gonna want to go. My wife only objects to me going places when she doesn't get to go with me.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I get that.
She never objects because I have to go. It's like, why can't I go with you? And then we figure out why. And
that's a fair objection.
Yeah.
I'll give her that. That's fair.
And usually it involves like an 8-month-old baby. But, outside of that, like we usually make it work. So South Beach it is. Let's make it happen.
South Beach it is. Hey, I had fun, guys. First ever draft thing. And like I said, I'll be putting out some shorts on some 101 stuff, and your newsletters will keep going. Please email me at john@bccsports.com if there's more you want to see. Those things take a long time to write. It might not be a lot of reading, but just the studying and the breakdown. Last night I got halfway through baseball. I was like, man, after NHL basketball and half of the baseball games, there you go. So I got to start picking out certain games and make it easier. Once it's just baseball, it'll be easy, but I got to get a better system down because it's a lot of information, man. Again, just thinking about it. And that's why I get so ticked off when we do lose is, it literally takes hours to do this, right? I'm not just, here's a game, I'll pick that one, right? Yep. So when we lose, I get really ticked. But hey, we're staying above 500. Like I said, I'm not going to win every month. To stay above 500 with as bad a luck we've had, I feel fortunate, but we're still in the first round of the playoffs. Time to turn it around and have a great end of April here and a great May and be off and running. Got a lot of work to get to that 70 game mark for baseball like last year, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there for sure. And we will probably be throwing out maybe one or two soccer plays for you all this weekend. So keep an eye out for that.
He's been working there.
Yeah. So for the first couple weeks, I went 42-25. So 17 games over, but I picked up about 19 and a half units. So pretty good for the first 2 weeks. Did better than I thought I was going to do. Starting to get a feel for it. So I might dip the toes in and throw you guys out some plays this weekend. So keep an eye on those. When we do the plays, we'll definitely throw out the league that they're in because it's Premier League. You have Italy A and the Spanish La Liga, so we'll make sure we put that information so it's easier for you guys to find in your apps. But yeah, keep an eye out for those. You'll probably have a couple plays rolling your way this weekend.
We got to get Gully on the USFL and this XFL stuff. I just don't have the patience.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
good.
There's some good opportunity there.
Yep.
I mean, there's opportunity. I just don't have time.
No. I know. I'm with you.
I mean, you know how long it takes to go through one pitcher of the whole batting order in his career against everybody in that batting order?
Yeah. I have a newfound respect for you after doing this soccer research for the last couple weeks. Man, it takes a lot longer. And I'm just doing one sport. Now, granted, there are 6 or 7 leagues that I'm rolling through all over the world, but the amount of time that I've put into researching soccer, I mean, I'm talking hours a day, has been more than I anticipated it would be. So I have a newfound respect for you there, Bubba.
There you go. Well, I'm glad something good came out of this show. You and Gully's picks, at least something came. AJ, however, is going to wear a dress, and so y'all folks listening, don't forget about that.
Hey, I'm working on UFC. Okay, come on. Yeah.
And Gully's going to take over USFL and XFL.
All right.
Yep.
So there you go. All right, Choppy, you can take us away. I love you, my winners. Thank y'all so much, and be looking for those shorts this week on social.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a show for us. Obviously, Gully, thanks for hopping on here. Great insight for the draft. We're going to have you on every year for the draft for sure, and we're going to get you on here for more. Looks like John gave you some marching orders of things you need to go and research, so we'll have you back on to talk about those. But thank you all for the support. I think it's going to be a great draft weekend. I'm excited for the draft here in Kansas City, my hometown. I'm excited to see how this goes off. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think the draft is going to be really exciting. Obviously, we still have NBA and NHL playoffs going on, so a lot going on in the sports world. But I hope you all have a great weekend with your families. Spring starting to warm up a little bit. Get out and do something fun with the family. And just thank you all so much for the support. We love you, and God bless. Have a great weekend.